Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. This is RedSunGamer, son of a podcast, episode 49. TGS special, people!
Yay!
Yep.
Huzzah!
TGS hype train!
No, get off that hype train.
Double bake that potato.
Today's date?
Back in the oven. See you in 1 week.
Today's date, Sunday, September 30th, 2012. It's Typhoon Day, guys.
Not over here.
No? Has it passed, Elliot?
It never got here.
It never got here. Okay, well, great. So in GTA, we have Steven.
It just came here.
Okay,
Just
hello.
got here. My umbrella. If my umbrella could speak, it basically went, "Want to see a trick?" And then the whole umbrella went reverse on me.
Well, you're just stupid for opening an umbrella in a typhoon anyway. That's
It was a 3,000 yen umbrella.
Don't care. You don't open an umbrella in a typhoon. That's just stupid. Anyways, Elliot.
Yeah.
Hey. You good?
So, I am good. It's bright and sunny down here. Or, I guess not because it's at night. But it was bright and sunny.
Okie dokie. And we have Cheesy.
I got totally blown away by this typhoon.
You did?
Bam!
It hurts.
Well done. And we have Mehdi.
I'm back.
Welcome
People
back,
have
sir.
asked for me. People
Yes.
have cried and said, "Where is he?" And I'm here to replace Eric, who was there to replace me. Something like that.
Something like
It's a
that,
vicious
right?
cycle.
It's a
It is.
never-ending mirror.
Excellent. And I am your host, DJ Mizuhara. So, today, TGS. I think we should just jump straight into it, right?
Let's do it.
We always do it.
Yep.
Do it,
Okie
do it.
dokie. So,
My power just went out for a second. Oh, shoot.
there we go.
Serious?
It's
Just had a power surge.
typhoon. Yeah, it's all good. No problem if you go. No problem.
Makes it exciting.
Exactly.
Let's get into the juice.
On the seat of your pants. Right. Okay, so first of all, basically, this whole podcast is going to be basically TGS talk, what we played during TGS. We got a huge outline of games that we were going to talk about, but we decided to cut that down to a mere 15 titles. So,
Only 15.
only 15, yeah. So first of all, I think on day one was the Thursday, the 20th of September, correct?
Correct.
Yes,
we
and
stood-
we all met for the first time.
Yeah.
In one place, yeah.
We had a big group hug as well.
And they made fun of me because I didn't get my badge until way after they did. They abandoned me, guys.
Yeah, we took a photograph and
Yeah, so if you've never been to Tokyo Game Show, but regardless, I mean, if we're on press day, it was about 8,000 people only, whereas 95,000 on Saturday. You just get in a line with the press. And even that's pretty long.
it is. It is indeed, right? Well, there's actually two lines. There's like media, and there's another line for game makers and stuff. And so we were in.
They're actually second-class citizens, the game makers.
So we stood in line, ready to go in. I think we got there like 8:30, right? So we were pretty close to the front.
Yes.
Yeah. So
What did you do first thing?
the first thing we did was mock Elliot for not having his press badge.
They took photos of me without a badge and then walked away from me while I waited for my Destructoid brethren to get there. It was
No,
depressing.
but after that.
The nerd run.
Yeah, what'd you run for?
We ran for Monster Hunter 4. I remember correctly.
It was pure random style.
I know. I think
I think
it
it
was
was-
because of the Eightfold guys.
Because they were right in front of us, and the first thing they ran
Wait,
for was
wait.
Monster Hunter.
Let's clarify something, right? We let them in line,
Yeah,
He did a
it's all
forward
good
wedge
fun.
move.
right? We let them in because they were properly late.
Right. Like John got there first, and he was like, "Oh, do you mind, guys, if I stay online with you?" No
Oh,
problem.
no
Just get in. And then
Johnny-
I just want to say that was like an ancient art of war forward wedge combat tactic. he got ahead in line.
Yeah, and then Johnny the Future came.
Yup.
right.
Then
Brandon and
JJ came.
Brandon
I
and
was in line for
JJ
my
came,
badge.
and somehow they wedged in front of us, and I'm like,
Oh, then you got to add guys from Polygon and The Verge.
Yeah,
got in there
Polygon
too.
got in there
Yeah,
too.
they were really glad to not have to go all the way back in the line and
We're
just,
like the Red Sun ushers. Is that the
we were that limit. No one would get in line like behind us. It was from like
but yeah. Anyway, so like for some reason we let like 20 people in front of us, which
It was
always
fun
makes
talking
sense.
to everyone in line. It's cool to meet all the guys,
exactly.
the 8-4 guys, the Sam from The Verge, who's a really good friend of the show.
Yeah, definitely.
All these guys, it's cool.
Okay, anyways,
Secret information.
so we basically got in line and the doors opened, and you guys headed straight to Monster Hunter 4, right?
So I believe it was me, Steven, Mehdi, and also Hasimo was with us, listener, good friend of the show. And we dashed to Monster Hunter 4.
Yeah, we double trotted.
So while you did a run of the nerds with the 8-4 crew, I went.
They chariot fired ahead of us. So.
Yeah, apparently Justin was being compromised by some dude with a suitcase. Did you see the suitcase guy?
They were way ahead of us by the time we got into those doors.
I thought that was you.
Me?
Martin.
I thought that too when I heard that.
It's all a blur to Maddie. He was too excited.
No. I was. Well, yeah, I had a suitcase, but I went to the press room. I went to the press room
stuff.
So when we got down the stairs, I went right into the press room while all you guys went to play games. I went to go do some work. Just saying.
Cold.
Just saying. Yeah.
I don't even know what it looks like.
We didn't even see you for half a day after that because we just went off.
Yeah, you just went off, and I ate no food all day while you guys played games and ate pizza. Anyways,
do it, but yeah.
Monster Hunter 4, take it away, people. Take it away.
Well, you should say we ran up there, and just as we're running up there, I said that developers were second-class citizens because one of the guys had a blue badge where we had orange badges. He turned him away. It's
they were
only for press. So the developer, it's not developers. He got turned away. Saying it was just a fun moment. But yeah, we jumped into the dimension of hunting.
Yeah,
they had the whole Monster Hunter was all like one big caravan.
Yeah.
Which was a big part of the game. It wasn't the onsen, which was also one of the most memorable venues. And we got there for online play, and I think who was actually way up. We caught up with somebody who was already way in there. Who was first?
That was me. That was
Mehdi was like there giving us go, just storm the beach. And then we got in there just barely for the first round of play, which was
so we were in that first group.
Picnic tables in there. In this caravan, sort of like this wagons, like this circled caravan wagons, like type of thing.
Yeah, and then so we get seated, and one of the booth babes who's there, they're all tons of booth babes dressed in Monster Hunter attire. So we all sit at the table, and we're using the old 3DSs. These aren't the LLs.
Yeah, this was a shocker.
Yeah, this is kind of a bummer. And then we got to pick. After doing this really goofy cheer together with everybody else.
What was the cheer? Please explain the cheer.
Gari Koze.
Yeah, Gari Koze. Like, let's go hunting.
Yeah.
Hunting. Let's. And so
like a Korean guy was excited waiting in line, and he from Korean Press. He's took a picture of us.
Yeah, there were a lot of pictures of us while we were playing. It was very weird. So we got in 4-player local multiplayer, and you could pick from
Hunters Unite. Yeah, that was.
You could pick from preset characters. With the different weapons. I went with the new bug stick because I wanted to see how it played. I don't know what you guys went with.
I went with that too because I don't know any of the other weapons.
Yeah, we should preface this by saying none of us are Monster Hunter players, so we don't know what we're talking about.
Yep.
We just dived in head first. I think I had the switch axe.
I remember that because you kept hitting me with it.
Yeah, I would switch between the enemy and your head.
Yeah.
It was all business. I mean, I was totally hitting him, and then it was all business hitting you. But it was
I played maybe a combined total of 30 hours of Monster Hunter across games, so not very much at all. But the things I did immediately notice were that the actual areas themselves were multi-layered vertically. So the area we hunted the weakest monster. You got to choose from 3 different monsters: the weak one, the medium, and then the really hard one.
We were on the English was the Great Jaggy Hunt.
Yeah, the Great Jaggy Hunt. So Monster Hunter players, know how
we had to fight. Jag.
And when we found where he was actually at the bottom of this really kind of tall vertical area that was covered by this weird webbing, and you had to jump down into that hole. At first, I didn't know.
I was just trying to run around it, but then he jumps and he doesn't take damage from quite a fall.
But even that fall alone was very different from the Monster Hunter I had experienced, having to pay attention to your surroundings. Whereas in previous Monster Hunters, I mean, you battle the giant creatures in like an arena, and that's about it, you know? Like it's typically a round arena or like kind of a horizontal arena, but nonetheless, you're not really paying attention to where you're running. You just have to make sure you don't run into a wall. Here, you have to be careful you're not falling off ledges. You have to be careful you're not like missing jumps that you're supposed to be making. It's very interesting.
It's pretty intuitive, though, the jumps.
Yes.
Well, it's automatic. You just get close to the
You just run to the cliff and he takes over for you.
I was disappointed they still have loading screens between areas. I thought they would get rid of that for 4.
Yeah.
That was the exact same as the previous Try and Portable Third, right? It was the same way.
Yeah, same way. The graphics were about as, you know, they looked like Ultimate that's coming out in the West. But on the other side of that, the animations seemed a lot stronger, and the game as a whole felt a lot faster. Even just your running speed, the combat as well. When I was playing with the bug stick, they basically play exactly like Kilik from Soul Calibur was my first impression. You can also like use it like a javelin kind of toss yourself up in the air and shoot from the air as well. Combat just felt a bit more intense. Maybe that's just my mind playing tricks on me since I haven't played Monster Hunter in a while, but it was definitely more intense to me.
Also, the grab on the walls, that was the A button, right? To examine, to climb, to grab on the walls. That was kind of new.
One thing we didn't get to try, unfortunately, was climbing on top of monsters and attacking them all on their back, which is a new feature in the game, but in the monster we were fighting, that wasn't pleasant at all. Because he was such a weak little monster, I guess it just wasn't an option. So that was a little bit...
You go on the advanced, they call it the Tigrix hunt.
Yeah.
And then that was, you could grab onto him and that, I think.
Yeah, but we were all noobs, so unfortunately. But we did beat the monster.
We did, and we were the first
ones to do it at TGS.
Yes. First group to beat a monster in Monster Hunter 4 at TGS, making us the first people in the public.
In the world, in the entire universe.
Right.
Hang on. There's going to be a bit of a conflict now because 8-4 said the same thing. So has anybody got any proof?
They beat the game. They beat the hunt separately as single player because that's what they were playing. We were playing group right off the bat.
Yep.
Yeah. Because when we finished our group, she's like, "You're the very first people to finish." The booth babe who was at our table because they assigned one booth babe to each picnic bench.
Yeah.
And then she said, "You were the very first." And then when we finished, we were running by and we saw them playing with their headphones on. They were just starting.
So they may have been the first people to beat the single player mode, but that's not what multiplayer is about, you
know. So when you finished it, someone said you started like banging their tables or something. Like, is that true?
We got
may
loud.
have.
I can't remember the nerd hecticness of it all.
Right. So
I think we were just cheering because we were running off to go play Metal Gear Rising Revengeance.
Yeah, that may have been me.
Right. So when you finished the Monster Hunter, did you receive anything when you finished?
That's right.
We got a really nice Monster Hunter like
iPad case.
Yeah, it was actually really cool and useful.
A little man bag.
Exact size for an iPad. It's great.
Yeah. It was just a nice bag in general, and it was really useful. I know Steven was using it through all of TGS, if I remember correctly.
Yes, he was. He turned into a geek during TGS, and I think it was Medi's fault.
I blame it all on...
Medi?
We'll talk about it later, but I blame it all on the trying to get the 100 street passes in a day. That consumed me. I became blind to everything else.
So, Cheesy, did you play Monster Hunter 4 at all?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
It was my very first Monster Hunter experience.
Okay, so bring it.
I didn't know what I was doing.
You whacked and hacked.
Hey, we're just a podcast of noobs, right?
Hunt?
So I fought this dinosaur-looking guy.
No, it wasn't a robot, was it?
I've never heard Cheesy talk like this. Keep going.
Yeah, so I go in there, right? I picked my character and monster pretty much at random. This is single-player mode. So I get going, I'm walking around. It's like, okay, there are monsters around. It's like, there's one right in front of me. Okay, I'll kill it. Okay, slash. Oh, it's dead. Okay, is that it? No, apparently there's a big monster you're supposed to go find. okay, so
they're little pint-sized jaggies, and then you beat them, and then you go to the big jag.
right. So I spent some time killing the small monsters, but I'm like, isn't there supposed to be a big monster? Aren't I wasting my time here? Because this is a time-limited demo. I've only got 15 minutes to play. So I look on the map, and there's this icon indicating where the big monster is. I'm like, okay, I'll go over there. I walk over there. It takes a while. It's like, okay, time is ticking. Tick-tock, tick-tock. I get over there and find the big monster, walk up to it, and start, whacking it with my club or whatever it is,
with your
whatever weapon I have. And it doesn't seem like it's doing anything. It's like, I'm losing life, but it doesn't seem to be losing any life. What's going on here? It's like there doesn't seem to be any life meter for the boss, or the boss's life meter is still full, or I don't know what's going on. So I just keep on whacking it. It's like,
well, the big thing is like after halfway of like whacking it a million times, it would just like leave the map.
Yeah, because he gets injured and he starts to like fall.
Yeah, right, it's not even like, because I know the tactic. Everyone's like saying, she was like, I remember the girl, she's like, get in its blind spot. I'm like, I'm just trying to get in the same map.
You're just trying to not hit me.
right.
No, I wasn't trying not to hit you, but.
Yeah, and it would go to another map, and I'm like, okay, where'd it go? It's like, oh, it's not here anymore. Okay.
It's kind of hard to get used to pressing the right shoulder button to like reorientate yourself so that the monster isn't right behind you.
So were you
really?
playing?
You can use the shoulder buttons to reorientate the camera?
Yeah, thank God you can do that, because without
if you didn't have that,
right analogs,
I can't imagine what your 15 minutes
yes.
like.
So
there was no right.
There's also the target camera as well, which is a carryover from Ultimate, which is also really useful too.
There was no. You weren't using the Frankenstick, were you at all?
No, the Circle Pad Pro was not on the demo unit, so I didn't even realize I had to manually control the camera until like halfway through. So it's like, okay, so how do you move the camera? Oh, right, it's the touch screen now. Okay, great. So it was either that or the claw, which I was not about to do.
You can't do that on the 3DS.
No, you can't do it on the 3DS.
Because the analog is on top of the D-pad.
Exactly. That's why they changed it to the touchscreen, which, in my opinion, works a lot better than the claw did. It also doesn't hurt.
So it's like, really, guys, is there no sort of automated camera? Really? So that was pretty annoying. Because I couldn't even keep my camera straight, let alone take down this monster. It's like,
yeah, and they said like a big part of it was like using the area's topography to your advantage. There was just like none of that. It was literally like me making a beeline right to the big monster and just whacking it silly. But in the advanced level, I think there were guys jumping on the back and riding it rodeo style.
Really? Yeah, because there's no way they could have that in like the beginner demo if it's designed for people who don't know how to play the game to begin with, which is already a complicated game.
Yeah.
It's like there's no way you could introduce those new concepts to people who've never touched Monster.
Yeah. They basically were saying, though, yeah, you have to jump on the monster's back in a blind spot. And if you do that, then you while you're jumping, you press the X button, and then you can jump on rodeo style, and you just hammer on the X and A buttons.
Yeah.
And then if you max out, if you hang on long enough and you max out the gauge, you'll be rewarded with the chance to do like additional damage to the monster. But I didn't get to that. There were other guys that were hanging on for a long time, and I think once we finished the advanced, I played twice. Once we finished the advanced one, we lost. Did not survive it. So one of the guys like gave me this dagger look. Like,
how am I even supposed to know that though? It's like I was.
Well, there was like 5 sheets that they give you for a second to look at. Right?
Oh, right.
Well, I don't think they're expecting people who don't really know how to play Monster Hunter to play Monster Hunter here.
And also
in this country
to be the first people in line as well, or one of the first people in line.
This group of people who has like very little experience.
Who's never played Monster Hunter before. Hey, we're noobs, but we want to play it first.
This super difficult game, like, oh yeah, what's the attack button?
And then plus all the potions, and I just could not like get through that menu of all that stuff.
I never could use a potion. It's like, what button do I press to use one? It's like, come on, drink the potion, dang it.
I'm sure right now our
then you've already taken more damage than your potion gives.
Yeah.
Right, yeah.
Stephen, are you eating? That's extremely rude of you, sir.
I'm sorry.
Yes, I thought so.
But I'm sure our listeners are screaming at us right now, like, how can you not know how to use items in Monster Hunter? And for that, I apologize.
Sorry, guys, I don't know.
Well, so Cheesy, this is your first outing of Monster Hunter. So, is this something that you're interested in getting into, or what?
I don't know. It seems overly complicated for what it is. Maybe it's just me. I mean, I don't know. Should I give it another shot?
I feel like a TGS demo. I mean, okay, I've been told that the learning curve on this game is very high. It takes a lot of time for you to really like understand it and just go for it. So a 15-minute demo at TGS is probably like the worst environment for something like this, honestly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. I was going to say that.
There's some games that just like, I'm sure if you're a crazy Monster Hunter fan, you're really familiar with the series. This demo made tons of sense to you, and you were picking up on the really tiny like differences. But if you've never touched the series before, like this, like a TGS demo isn't really the best way to decide whether it's for you or not, I think. Honestly.
Yeah, that was in induction by fire is what that was.
Though it's worth noting, they announced at TGS that the game has
baptism
online multiplayer, and they actually demoed it on stage to people in Osaka. So there is online, which is a big deal.
That was the big bomb.
But no chat, right? No voice chat. Am I right? Or am I wrong?
There's like presets, I believe, statements and stuff.
So overall, I've only played like 15 hours of Try on Wii, and like the thing I was really disappointed about 4, as someone who's not a big fan and didn't play like 200 hours of Try or Portable Third, is like it really looks very, very similar to the previous game, right?
Try G.
Like, yeah, they changed the number, so they went from the Try or Third or all these 3 base numbers, and they went to 4. But let's be honest, it looks like an extension, an add-on. As someone who's not a big fan of the series, but if they're trying to, like, the only thing they're gonna get with this game is more content for the big fans that are already big fans of the game. But there's no way they're gonna get new people in the series with this new game, because I don't see anything that has changed from Try to 4. It's just like, okay, you have new weapons. Okay, you have new enemies. Now you can.
What about the verticality though? You can jump onto them.
Is it enough to bring new people who already were like, yeah, Third is fun, but I won't play more than 10 hours of it. So,
well, I mean, here's the thing though, is that other things they haven't talked about and things you're not going to see really at TGS. They talked about how this is going to have more of a story than previous ones. They also talked about destructible environments and that kind of stuff, which is something we didn't get to see in our easy mode demo, because it's the easy mode demo, and I don't think we were ever going to get to see that. But that's something they've been talking about a lot as well. I feel like right now they're trying to market the game to the diehards, but it's like they get closer and closer, they're probably going to start like pushing for like those advertisements that bring in the boy bands, that bring in the celebrities to try to market to new people. Because I mean, this series is still only just getting bigger and bigger. Like, I'm terrified of the numbers that 4 is going to do.
Did Try on 3DS sell more than Portable Third on PSP? I don't remember.
Well, it's a hard comparison to make, though, because the 3DS
it's not the same
at that time. Yeah. But I mean, attach rate, it's pretty crazy.
Right.
Okay, so, let's move on. Let's go to Soul Sacrifice.
Oh my god, that other
People game.
Are drooling at the bit.
Sony was pushing this hard.
Yeah, they were.
This was their big title.
This is their main attraction, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because on the Sony booth, they had like 20 Vitas with Soul Sacrifice front and center.
Yeah, like the display for it at the Sony booth was right in the front, so everybody walking by could see the people playing Soul Sacrifice.
Mm-hmm. Right. And that was when I was playing it, when I actually finally got a chance to play it. When I was playing it, I felt like the presence of somebody. And I looked over my shoulder.
Ominous presence.
Yeah, I looked over my shoulder, and Inafune was standing there watching me play it.
He had a grin on his face?
Yeah, he had a big grin on his face, and he gave me a thumbs up, and I was like, okay. But
is that as you're playing or before you started playing?
No, as I was playing, because I looked over.
Oh, so he approved.
He just gave me a thumbs up, and I was like, okay, I'll carry on playing. So, yeah.
So, did you sacrifice somebody and then he thumbed up you?
Excuse me. No, at the time, he just gave me a thumbs up for just simply playing it. I hadn't sacrificed anybody at that time because I was only about 3 or 4 minutes into it. So just running around, killing bad guys. That was in the arena. Anyways, who else played this? Did everybody play this?
I played. Me and Steven played together.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
We've received requests to talk about this. Give it long time treatment. So
Love you long time. Okay. $5. Okay, go.
So yeah, I want to just go through the tutorial part, and then maybe the second part we can do how it just sort of played out.
Word.
If that's cool. When you start the actual tutorial, if you've ever seen the movie Evil Dead, there's this wicked-looking book, and it's got like this one bugged eye and then one really big eye. It's very like Popeye-ish, and the whole tutorial starts with him talking to you, and he's like, "Oh, you've made it this far, ha ha ha. So what sacrifices did you make to get here?" So they're already like playing heavy on the sacrifice bit. He's like, "Well, since you're standing here, it just must mean that you're ready no matter what happens." And he's like, "Well, listen good. If you want to sacrifice something, be my guest. Like, say someone sitting next to you." So he's like, it's very like trying to like get you to sacrifice the person halfway through the tutorial so that you can see what happens. So it was very interesting that they had one of the girls with the booth babes. It was 4 players can play, and they had one of the chicks who's not just explaining the game, but she's actually playing with you.
Yeah, she's our 4th party member.
Right. And we had played together, right, Elliot?
Yes, correct. It was me, you, another Japanese member of the press, I think, and the booth bait.
And me standing behind you.
And you standing behind us with a camera.
With a camera.
Right. And yeah.
So if you've seen the video, if you've seen the video, that is Elliot's hands. So give us hands.
Inafune was actually talking.
Well manicured.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, so you have to start out with, you pick these custom characters, and we had just enough time to basically like change our gender and our clothes. And I don't know what you guys picked. Did you pick anything memorable?
I picked a weird looking girl with I can't remember what she looked like, but I do remember picking something weird. They were all weird.
Yeah, I picked some guy with a huge hat.
I did the same thing.
He looked like somebody out of Kiss.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the guy who was wearing like the giant skull, like that came halfway down to his belly button?
That's so weird.
I think that's him. Yeah.
No, I chose somebody else. He had a huge hat on. He looked like somebody out of Kiss, and he had like basically belts around his whole body, around his arms and stuff. And I changed his colors and stuff. So.
Well, if you go into the Google Docs right now, I'm going to show you a picture of one of the girls that you can pick, which I did, and I greatly regret it. If you look at the top of the...
Okay, this is great radio, though, Steve.
Yeah, I know, but it's worth showing you. So there it is at the top.
Wow. That's awesome.
So what do you get? What do you see, guys?
Okay.
Movies?
It's like a light brown haired woman with like a pig on her shoulder, maybe, and then like bear claws covering her breasts.
And she's got Kratos scars as well.
Yes.
On her chest as well. And
that is Steven's character.
What?
Hang on, how did you get...
who I picked, actually.
Oh, okay.
Oh, so this was a character you can choose?
This was, if you're looking there, it's a type of look, and there are 5 different types of looks that you can give for your character, and this is one of them.
Yeah, I think PETA is going to have a problem with this game.
I think this is the overseas content, because, you got 2 bear claws, or just basically covering her mammary glands from behind.
So,
anyway,
but yeah, you can give different looks, the colors. There's like a hood type you can see right there, and that's where I picked the giant and dinosaur skull. But and then some of the characters look kind of bland, and but in no way do they affect your combat ability. It was really just pictures. And then next you had to pick your sacrificial magic. They call it kumotsu, and you got to choose from 6 different. You got 6 types of preset sacrificial magic that you could choose from a list of 18.
And they all set to you the face button of the Vita, right?
What's that?
The 3 magics goes to square, triangle, and circle, right?
That's correct. And then you press the R to toggle to the next preset of 3.
Yes.
Yep.
And so...
What was X for again?
X was the dodge or the roll.
Right.
That's right. Yes. And then, but if you listen carefully, it was kind of hard because the booth girl, you were actually listening to headphones, and her voice was actually mixed in with all the audio of the feed. So it was kind of hard to hear the game and her at the same time. But if you listen carefully, it said, we recommend you just leave the magic that we've set up for you here. But I went and changed all mine. So I to all like up close and melee attacks. I had no like ranged attacks. So
I was set up for all range pretty much.
You were set up for all range.
I had nothing up close.
Right. So that made for like interesting combat. Do you want to go into the game itself?
So we got to choose from 2 different bosses that we could fight. The one that we picked was the Cerberus, so 3-headed dog guy. So we go into
wolf almost,
or wolf. Yeah, it's kind of hard to describe. There's videos of it though, and I'm sure many of you have seen it. But we went into the world, and
wolf 3-headed. Yeah,
there wasn't a whole lot of exploration, but it also felt like it was significantly cut down so that we could just fight the boss as the main part of the demo. So we're just running down this corridor where there's contorted houses on the side with like giant tree trunks like wrapping around them, and we're fighting like Zako monsters, so like little tiny throwaway enemies, just to kind of just to get the hang of the combat, which is very fast. The game looks really good. It runs at a really nice frame rate.
The areas are big too, right? Well, there was only one area, but it was bigger than the areas you have between each loading screens in Monster Hunter.
Yeah, it seemed like it was bigger.
So you could run a lot around the enemy, and it was fun.
Yeah. So we run down this corridor for a little bit. Again, there's not much exploration, but
you should just mention, you said run, and you'll be happy to know that there's no limited stamina. You can just keep running forever, which I thought that was kind of cool. You just Forrest Gump it all the way to the enemy is what we did.
Forrest Gump it. We Forrest Gumped it all the way to the boss. And we get there, we get to this big open arena, and there's a quick cut-in cinema of this guy in armor just like transforming into this giant 3-headed wolf monster. And then the fight begins. So it's the 4 of us against him. I kind of hung back and I was just launching offensive projectile magic. So I was charging ice spells. I froze him at one point, which was really cool because while he was frozen, everybody else, I know Steven could get in and actually do some melee damage. But I was just spending a lot of time messing around with the magic against him while Steven was kind of doing whatever it is he was doing. What were you doing?
I basically had this giant flaming hand that took forever to wind up. But once you did it, you really bashed him to hell. But it just took forever. So if you didn't know the controls and you missed, you kind of took another 10 seconds to get your thing lined up.
Actually, some magic allowed you to charge. So by holding down whatever button, say the square button, by holding it down, you would get a slightly different magical effect, or it would be a little bit more powerful.
Basically, the longer you held it, the stronger it gets. That sounds pretty logical. But.
Yeah. There were a few spells, though, that didn't have that at all. Like, it just required you to charge just to attack. One spell I had turned me into a gigantic boulder and, like, rolled me at the enemy. But you couldn't adjust what direction you were heading in as the boulder. So once
that was the giant pill bug ball.
Yeah. So there were points where like I would just be rolling past the enemy, and I'm pretty sure Steven and everybody else was just like, "Where is he going?" Like, just rolling into walls.
I could summon some kind of plant creature which would obviously grow from the floor, and what I did is I had the boss running around in this small arena, and I planted 3 of these like plant type creatures to grow out of the floor in like a triangle around him. So every time he got hit, he got smacked across and got smacked into the other one on the other side, and then that one would smack him into the other one, and he basically just got smacked around 3 of these like plant type creatures. I went off for ages, and everyone was laughing while I was playing it. So yeah, that was quite amusing.
Also, as you beating into this monster and getting him closer and closer to death, there's this cool effect where dialogue kind of floats across the screen. So the thoughts of the monster or the person who used to be the monster.
Yes.
Which ties into, I'm sure, the story, but we weren't really experiencing much of the story in the multiplayer demo. But that was also just a really neat touch. It was just very atmospheric was the one thing that kept coming to mind.
When I saw that on the screen at first, I thought it was a preset chat, from the other players. So I thought that the other three players were talking like, what are they talking about? What is this? And I didn't get it. Like, it's the monster that was talking, actually.
And as we got him closer to death, our guide...
Yeah, this was great.
The booth lady's like, I'm going to sacrifice myself so that see what happens.
Meanwhile,
Steven, what were you doing?
I was like whacking the monster's foot, looking up at the monster for reaction. And it's like... And I'm like just whacking at it. And it's like, what are you doing? And it's like, you should be away from him right now. And so I died. I died right on the spot. I just like, it was very like anti-Shang Tsung. It's like, my soul is yours. I died.
It's a good thing though is when you do die and you get the soul, right? You can still...
So this is why, yeah, that's exactly.
So we ended up sacrificing him after he died.
Right.
We didn't bring him back. We killed him.
So you're not basically when you get killed though, you're not basically if you're the player who gets killed, you're not basically just said like kicked out of the game saying you died. You can still interact with the actual game, right?
That's exactly right. So there's like this whole like post-mortem sort of second chance where you become this engulfed in these flames as a spirit. And you can actually run around, and this is where you actually use the Vita touchscreen. And you start touching the screen, and I would touch the players to heal them or touch the enemy to inflict damage on them, which I thought was really cool.
Yeah, that was really good. I was really happy when I saw that because I could see that when I was playing there was two of the other. There was 4 people playing, but there was just myself and the booth babe. That was all that was still fighting. But the other 2 guys I was with, they were both spirits, and you could see them running around. And I was wondering what they were doing because they were both. One was sitting next to me, and one was sitting in front of me. And all I could see out of the corner of my eye was the guy just like spamming the screen with his finger, and I was like, "What's he doing?" You know. and then the guy in front of me started doing the same thing. So I've got 2 guys. One in front of me, one on my left, and they're both spamming the screen, and I'm like, what's going on? And then I see small, faint type spirit characters, and my energy is going up, and I can see that the boss is going down as well, you know? So I was like, wow, that's cool. So one of them was giving me power, while the other one was taking energy away from the boss that me and the booth babe was fighting, and I thought that was amazing. It was
ingenious, actually. It was almost like, why isn't... I can't remember anybody really doing something like this.
Yeah, it's great, though, because
you have to sit out a game. Like Gears of War, you just have to sit out at times.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying. So you don't have to sit out. It doesn't kick you out saying, you died, and you got to sit there and wait till everyone else is finished. You still interact, and you still got a part to play, even though you're not fighting like with all of the weapons and the spells you've got. But you can still interact and help your team at the end, you know. So I thought that was a really, really cool touch. So I was like, wow.
Also, one more subtle thing that I don't think many people touched on was when you press down on the D-pad, it activates this thing called Shingon, which was like it's like heart eye, and this shows you the monster's weakness. I remember that. Yes. You see this like you become it says like she's like you see the unseeable, and then the screen turns black and the creatures give off this like green silhouette, and it sort of shows where you should be hitting them. And there's actually like a gravestone, and if you walked to the gravestones and you happen to press down on the D-pad, it would flash white, and then if you walked over the D-pad over to the gravestone, you could which is white, it would restore your health.
Yeah, and there was one to restore magic too, right?
Oh, was there? I didn't see that one.
Because magic was finite, so that's another thing. That's a good point. I ran out of magic on a few of my spells, and I did not know how to replenish it, but I think I also heard and read that you can actually get items on the field to later sacrifice. I'm not sure if that was in the demo because I couldn't find anything, but your magic isn't infinite, so you can run out in battle.
Well, no, basically the way it is, it's not really magic because there is no mana. It's that you can only cast certain spells a certain number of times. Like each one will have like 10, 5, 15 next to it. So it's kind of it's just like a set number, really.
But I think that's based on how many actual like items you have. Like because I know they were talking. Inafune was saying at TGS that you can, like, for instance, pick up mushrooms on the field, and those mushrooms will allow you to use certain spells.
Okay.
And so based on the amount of mushrooms you have, that's how many spells you have. But because
was that in like a live demo that he did?
Yeah, because this was a preset demo, we just had the magic we could choose from, and that's that. That kind of element was completely out of. They talked about it in magazines beforehand too, that you sacrificing not only body parts, but things like plants, stuff you find on the field.
Oh, that's right, for weaker spells, right?
Yeah. So I'm imagining that for the purposes of the demo, you could just pick whatever magic you wanted off the menu, but it probably isn't exactly like that in the final game. I mean, that remains to be seen. But
so, Cheesy, did you play this at all? You did, right?
Yeah, I did.
Come on, give us some feedback, fella.
Yeah, I just went with the default attacks they had preset, and it seemed like only.
Oh, you did?
Okay. Yeah, it seemed like only one of them had any effect on the monster. So I was just.
Was that the lightning or what were you using?
I forget exactly which attack it was, but it was assigned to the circle button, so I just wound up mashing the circle button the whole time. Like
they also have this where you shoot your own blood out as a deadly projectile, and it, like actually you lose your own health as you do it, but you're supposedly doing more damage to the enemy, I would hope.
Actually, you just reminded me. So a lot of like the artwork for this game has been really violent, but the actual game itself, I mean, because the screen is so tiny and because your characters and the monsters are so small, it's really not that gory. It's not that grotesque. Like when the Cerberus was dying, it was shooting blood, but the effect was actually a lot closer to Shadow of the Colossus and the way the Colossi look when they're being stabbed and the black blood is like shooting out of their head. It wasn't nearly as bad as the production art would have you believe.
Yeah, I was a bit relieved at that point. It seemed like it was actually playable without having to sit through all this uber violent stuff. So that was nice to see. It looked like it was, fairly tight action title. The arena that I was in, I was fighting the other boss. It was this like chicken-shaped monster with
the harpy
human head. Yeah, the harpy. And the arena was, about the size of a football field. Pretty constrained. With 4 people running around on it and a bunch of monsters around you. So, yeah, it was fairly well paced. I mean, for 4-player multiplayer, it was pretty frenetic. So there was always something to run around and to do in the arena. There was always, some monster that you had to go attack or run away from. And there were, like you guys said, a variety of different abilities that you could use. So it's fairly interesting.
Also, toward the end, when we finally killed the boss, it reverted back to its human form, and we were given the option, which is kind of the crux of the game almost. We were given the option to either kill him and like take his soul, or to save him and essentially like cleanse his soul and allow him to move on. It doesn't bring him back to life, but he's able to kind of move on to the next world. But
don't they just get up and walk away?
I don't believe so, because he kind of turned into like a bright white light and disappeared, and then the booth lady was just like, it's unfortunate that he's still dead, but now at least his soul is saved.
Are you sure? Really?
Yeah, because she was like, Zamnen this kid off.
Because what's the point then?
I think there are different effects based on what you do.
It's not exactly salvation.
I mean, I guess compared to, getting dragged to hell and turning into a terrifying monster, going to heaven is probably a better set of circumstances. But in his case, he just turned into bright light and disappeared, if I remember correctly. I mean, I could be wrong. You should probably check out that video. I could be just talking at him about right now, but
that seems to go contrary to what they've sort of been saying. So
yeah,
there's got to be some sort of gameplay implication for.
Oh yeah, she said there was, but
the major game implication for the players is that when the enemy is near death, it returns original form, and then your left hand is like kill him, and then the right hand is like save him, or what is the other way around? But saving the person restores your health, and repeated over time, over and over again, that will better your defense. Whereas sacrificing the enemy increases the amount of times that you can use some of the bigger types of magic. And if repeated, if you continually sacrifice these people and over and over again, it's going to increase your offense. So that was the biggest thing that I noticed. And also, if you paid attention when you sacrificed him, which we did, right? We sacrificed it.
No, we saved him.
No, there was she sacrificed herself or something, didn't she? I thought.
Oh, she sacrificed herself. Yeah, we saved the monster though at the end.
Right, but when there is a sacrifice where we sacrifice her, it says "Tamashi ga yodota," and you can see like this little red ball that goes into your body, and that's like it's saying like you have assimilated the enemy's soul. So there's that. So it looks like although you're, in addition to getting an increased offense, and maybe this is just limited to the monster, not if you do it to your fighting companions. I guess something your character will essentially subvert over time and become one of the horrible monsters. Is what it's kind of like they're kind of hinting at.
Oh, okay.
So I'm expecting the character to change in appearance a lot. But yeah, and if you do save your fighting companion in combat, it costs you half of your health, which is pretty huge thing to notice. Because if you're fighting a big monster and you do save them, you have to give up half of your health to save that person. So you're not just doing it out of the kindness of your heart with no like negative ramifications.
Yeah.
I mean, because literally like it shows like your health drop by half, and it's like, whoa. I want to do that against this big enemy. So there's a lot of like deep gameplay there. Looks interesting. Yeah,
definitely. And I also just I quickly watched the end of the video just to confirm. He doesn't get up and walk away, but it's kind of vague. Like a white ball of light comes out of his body and goes into ours, and then he kind of just remains there still on the floor. So
right,
I don't know.
Because a big part of his moaning and groaning is like, well, I have still got things yet to do.
I don't want to die. Yeah.
If he goes to purgatory or whatever, it doesn't really exactly help him.
Yeah.
So
it's funny. I noticed that when I was playing, with the time when it comes to say sacrifice or what is it?
Salvation.
Salvation. Yeah, sacrifice or salvation. Everybody at the same time just hit sacrifice all at the same time. It was hilarious. It was like, whoa, everyone just wants this guy dead. This is just as soon as it came up on the screen.
Are you talking about her or the enemy at the end?
The enemy at the end.
Okay.
So there's a boom. Everyone was like, yeah, you're getting sacrificed. Everyone just hit sacrifice at the same time. It was quite.
Which is funny because when we saved our guy, she seemed really surprised. She was just like, oh my God, you guys are so nice.
Right.
Right.
And the big thing is that each enemy kind of has a story behind them. It's kind of like the movie Seven with like the gluttony and all the different types of sins. Like each monster seems to have like a sin attached to them, and based on what they did to end up who they are, they kind of have these customized like sort of their edging death. They start to show remorse, and like all the things that they did, they start to reflect on, and it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay.
I had a great time with it. Personally.
Yeah.
But I think there was a lot of things to like too many new things for this demo, and it was hard to like really understand what was going on the screen. So I'm really looking forward to the demo they're going to release on PSN soon.
Yes.
I can't wait to try that.
Did they have a date?
So,
do they have a date?
They said this year, so it's got to be October, November, December, 3 months left.
Yeah.
So it's got to be soon. So
hopefully it's online too. It'd be a blast to play that demo online.
So did they say the full game is going to be online?
They said it's online. Yeah, that was one of the earlier statements they made about the
Can I just mention one more thing and then I'll shut up? Is do you think that Inafune's like captured the lightning in the bottle to find like a happy medium between games that will appeal to the West and Japan?
Yeah, it's got a Dark Souls vibe, right?
Yeah, that was a smart move, in my opinion, to try to appeal visually to that group of gamers.
Yes.
What's your verdict? Do you think it's going to be based on what you played? Do you think it's going to be a big success in the West? Basically, this is kind of what he's been talking about all this time.
It's early to know, right? Because it's still an early demo, and many things will change.
And it's hard to say too because it's a handheld title.
Yeah,
and just. Certain franchises sell big numbers handheld out west. Stuff like Pokemon, stuff like Mario games. But how many third-party titles really sell the same sort of numbers they do over here? It's not. It's really rare. So I mean, regardless of the quality of the game, it's kind of up in the air as to whether this is gonna.
Well, I thought it was interesting that he did kind of say, "I was like, really, you said this?" He said, even though you can play it online together, I really think it's more fun to get together and play. I'm like, oh, you just shot yourself in the foot because you should be trying to push this online thing, not getting people together and play.
Exactly. Yeah, that's not going to happen.
I thought he should never have said that. But.
I still know people out west who have only like street passed with like 5 other people. Wow. Like that's not realistic out west, honestly. I mean, there's some people who can do it, and that's awesome. But yeah, no, it's not.
One last question about Soul Sacrifice is the elephant in the room is it Sony's new Monster Hunter? Is it going to be enough?
That's hard to say because Monster Hunter just came out of nowhere,
right? And I'm not gonna. He will stay unnamed, but I talked to a Capcom employee, a really good friend of the show at TGS, and asked him, what do you think of Soul Sacrifice? And he really dissed the game. Like, that the gameplay has no depth. That's what he said. Like, you're just rushing to the enemy and just bashing him and just, repeating the same attacks again and again and again. And he was like, there's no depth. Like, Monster Hunter has so much depth that you could play it, like, for 500 hours.
And they do.
Still have new things to do. Can you imagine that? Like 500 hours of contents in a game. That's Monster Hunter. So, and he was like, yeah, no, you can't compare.
Is that, wait, is that sheer depth of content or that's not gameplay, or is it both?
It is
both.
It's both in the case of Monster Hunter, because, you get, the more you play,
I don't know, but
you get more, you beat more enemies and they give you more pieces so you can make better weapons and better armors and things like that. So,
and now with like the 3DS version, with Tri-G and stuff like that, you also have, and also with the Wii version too, you have DLC quests, like free DLC quests. Like, there's always content, there's always something to do, and I mean that's the thing. It's also appealing to people who love loot, so it's kind of appealing to that like Diablo 2 fan in a way as well. And it's a very very hardcore game, which somehow became mainstream, which is mind blowing to me. But I mean, I don't know, because at the same time, Soul Sacrifice feels like a different game. Like, it doesn't really, like, it doesn't feel like a Monster Hunter clone.
Right.
Like, it doesn't feel like it's trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, it is. It feels different when you play it. I agree with that.
Like, when you play it, you're like, okay, this isn't trying to be a Monster Hunter clone. This is trying to be something, like, kind of in between. It's weird. It's not like God Eater, which is very obviously, we're trying to take that formula. Like, Soul Sacrifice seems a bit different.
It is easier to pick up and play right away, right?
It is, definitely.
You just get in front of the monster and press circle and he will attack. In Monster Hunter, you get in front of the enemy and you need to remember that there's a button to take your weapon out, and there's a different button to start attacking, and you can't run with the weapon out and this and that.
And you're locked in your animation, so once you strike, you're not going to be moving until you finish the strike.
So,
I mean, it's kind of hard to say.
I think it's a bad comparison.
Saying it's an easier game to jump into than Monster Hunter is like saying any game is an easier game to jump into than Monster Hunter. Monster Hunter, which is like a 20-hour barrier that you have to break before you can start.
We didn't know that before we tried at TGS, so
yeah. But at the same time, though, that could appeal to more people. I mean, if you look at God Eater, which is like the biggest of the Monster Hunter quote-unquote clones, that did really well for Bandai Namco a couple of years ago when they released the first version. They sold in the hundreds of thousands of units. So there's a crowd out there that wants that more story-focused, a little bit faster, a little bit, not tighter, because that's saying that Monster Hunter's gameplay isn't tight, but a little bit more Devil May Cry-ish type of action. And so there's an audience there for that. I don't know if it's ever going to be, the ridiculous numbers that Monster Hunter does, but like I said, that was just kind of out of nowhere, so...
Alrighty then, I think we should move on and into the courtroom with
Objection.
I was waiting for somebody to say that. Anyways, Ace Attorney 5.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. I was really excited to play that too.
So it's been many years in game and real life.
So this booth at the Capcom booth, it was set up as like a courtroom, right?
It was
like a courtroom that has been like blown to bits.
Okay.
No, the courtroom at the booth was all proper. It was.
No, it wasn't.
No, it wasn't.
It was completely blown up.
It was crumbling.
It was in ruins.
What?
It was kind of like the walls were burned.
Yeah, the walls were burned. There's a piece of the wall missing.
Which was where the last game ended, I thought.
Oh, well, that's how this game begins. But
well, then this game begins more so. But yeah, so okay, because I'm new to the series. How you doing? My name is Steve.
Yeah.
So one thing good about Microsoft not being at TGS has allowed me to just kind of venture out and play games in series that I've never been able to enjoy. So it was good it was my first time to play Ace Attorney or Gyakuten Saiban. And I have to say initially, I love the courtroom atmosphere, but yeah, you were given headphones and it was kind of hard to, being that was the first game and it's already had like all these long-term game mechanics that they're carrying over into the new game. It was kind of overwhelming to sort of wrap my head around the game. It missed all the like commotion. And not to mention there's this like under the watchful eye of this like hot booth babe who just keeps walking by and she's like kind of like, oh, you're only that far kind of.
Right.
I'm like, oh, damn you to hell.
Yeah, this demo expected you to clear the whole case presented in 10 minutes.
Well, get up to
was it 15 or I thought it was
15.
It was 10 minutes.
I couldn't do
Was
it.
it?
I tried. I couldn't do it.
I didn't finish it. I'll just say it
Yeah,
right.
it was
I
too
didn't-
long.
I didn't even get anywhere close. I hadn't even really started the case. It's like
Right.
the first person took the stand, and it's like, okay, time's up. I'm like, what?
I got to the end of the first person and onto the second person and like got cut off midway through.
Nice.
Right, so basically you're Naruhodo, which is like is great because it's IC, right? Means IC in Japanese in English, but is what's his name? Phoenix. So Phoenix has been out of the courtroom for 8 long years, and I guess he goes back and gets his license
Again, yeah.
and now this young girl retains him as the defense attorney. As the case is presented, well, and actually they do introduce a new sidekick of his, and
Yes.
new chick who's like a brand spanking new, bold face of humanity lawyer.
Yes, who works under him at his office.
Under
Now
his desk.
she's replacing, was it Mayoi-chan?
Yeah, Maya in the English version.
Maya. Okay, yeah, and she is like full of pep.
Oh,
She's
God,
like
yeah.
smacking her fist, and it's like
Yeah.
huge noise. Like
She
boom,
gets
through the
angry
mic.
really easily.
Yeah, she's like ready to fight every single time that Phoenix gets insulted.
Yeah, very memorable characters, like right out of the starting blocks. I felt.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you start in the courtroom.
You start outside the courtroom.
Well, but you're like right.
And he's
outside.
nervous.
Of course he's nervous.
He's nervous every time, right?
Yeah.
That's his nature.
That's the reoccurring joke.
Isn't that what it is? Yeah. So I really don't know too much about the psychic lock and the minuku, which is, I don't know what you call that in English when you
I'm
had
trying
to
to
read through the character and sort of see through them, whether they're like when they're being cross-examined and whether they're telling the truth or not. But it seemed like the new big mechanic this time was using the new character. What's her name?
Kokonoe.
Kizuku Kokorone.
Yeah,
Kizuku
Kokonoe,
means
yeah.
to notice, and apparently she can do this. She has this innate ability to do some psychoanalysis on the guy, and then she can run it through her computer. And when she runs it through her computer, this is the new mechanic. But basically, if they're saying something, she can read what the person's emotion is at that exact moment.
Yeah.
And whether it will be happy or it will be like sad or surprised, confused, or angry. And if they say something that doesn't match that true feeling of theirs, then you're going to know that there's a mujun, which is a contradiction.
Yes.
And that's the new mechanic of the game.
Yep.
For Ace Attorney 5. If you're not new to the game, you're wondering what's new.
Yep. Additionally, as many of you have noticed, I'm a huge fan of Ace Attorney, by the way. Those games all hold a really special place in my heart, so I was really excited to play Ace Attorney 5. I as many of you already know, the character models are now in 3D, but they look fantastic.
Yeah, they look really good.
Like, their animation is just beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful?
Yes, I mean, it just looks
the
great.
animation is really good.
It's very smooth.
Is that coming from somebody who's played all 4 of the others?
That's coming from, going from the sprite work to 3D animation. It was a little bit concerning. I was a little bit worried, especially after playing Phoenix Wright versus Layton, but that's another story. The animation was just very smooth. It looked
wasn't
great.
as good as Ghost Trick, right?
I mean, not as good as Ghost Trick, but they were using rotoscoping, weren't they? I'm pretty sure.
Right.
For their animation.
Yeah, it was real 3D, okay.
Yeah. But the characters looked great. The humor was all there. At the very beginning of the trial, Phoenix is nervous about going back in, and Kizuka's just like, "Oh, like, you're gonna do great, Phoenix. Like, you're my mentor. Like, I can't wait to see you go." And like, in his mind, he's just like, "Oh God, why? This is terrible."
Yeah.
The writing is really good.
Yeah, the writing is as great as always. The music was also fantastic. Actually, the main, at least in the demo, Phoenix's main theme is the same theme he had in Trials and Tribulations. The third game, only remixed and like higher quality. So it was a nice throwback. It was very nostalgic.
Still no voice acting though, right?
Still no voice acting. But man, if there was,
I was so upset with that kind of. But I guess that's the series formula.
Considering how much talking there is, though, that would be
lot.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
Would you be upset if they had it?
Well, it's surprising because there's another game who did it.
I mean, if they did have it, the problem is I feel like it would take longer for the game to come out because the scripts for these games are huge. Right. So it's like if it's between, and also if they cast the wrong actors, it could completely just ruin the game.
Which what Level 5 did, right?
I mean, yeah.
Hey, what?
So just to do a little bit of juxtaposition here, I played Ace Attorney versus Professor Layton, Level 5's game coming out.
I tried it too.
First, I tried the Phoenix side, so like the courtroom stuff. And the writing was pretty good. The writing felt like Phoenix, right?
He's like, I'm all nervous.
I believe he's in England. He was with Maya.
Yes, yeah.
And they were getting ready for a trial. And they're outside the courtroom, and they're nervous. He's nervous.
Like,
Maya's
I'm nervous. It's the first time I have to work in a foreign country.
Yeah, I don't know any of the laws. Why am I doing this? He gets introduced. He gets introduced to the defendant, who is this young girl who's just like dead eyes, not responding to anything. She looks like she's been possessed. And basically, he's told that he doesn't have to defend her at all. Like, he just kind of has to be there. She needs to be, charged guilty, and then he can go home and get paid. Right. So, of course, he's a little bit nervous about that. And so he goes into the courtroom, and it's a Phoenix Wright game through and through, except the CG models and the animations are terrible. Just really bad.
Wait, was it CG or was it real time?
It was real time. I mean, I'm sorry. Yeah, the real time computer.
It was real time. It didn't look as good as 5.
Not even remotely close. The expressions.
Yeah, we're going to go back to our talk on 5 too, right?
We are. Yeah. I'm just doing this to compare.
Okay, good.
The character models were just very, very emotionless compared to 5, which were really emotive and did a really good job of emulating the pixel art. And that was very disappointing. The writing seemed fine, but I mean, just going back to Ace Attorney 5, I was worried it would end up like that, but instead, I'm actually really looking. I'm looking forward to what other characters look like. Also, it's much more theatrical. The camera moves around in the courtroom.
Right. The camera moves around, and that was really awesome.
Right.
Like as soon as you walk into the courtroom, yes, the doors open up and the camera moves in and does like a wide shot of the courtroom. During certain sequences, the camera backs out and does like a pan.
And then everybody murmurs, like, like when they say something, like everyone's like, "Oh Jesus!" That was kind of cool.
In the original game, those shots were just still images of the courtroom and the people in it. Now it's a moving camera.
And this is for all the rooms, actually. Like when you go on the investigations, and you're up until now, you would like just randomly like do like a pat down on the room, and it's like a 2D, just 2-dimensional flat. But now, once you pick something of interest, the whole camera pans, like you say, so that will show like something under the little table. So that was really cool,
right? Was it?
No, I saw that in the live demonstration at the TGS.
Okay. So as a Phoenix Wright fan, I mean, that kind of stuff is part of the reason why I was excited about this game is because as good as the Miles Edgeworth Ace Attorney Investigations games were, there was no courtroom stuff. It was all out of the courtroom investigation and things like that. And the heart of this series is, the courtroom.
But they do say that the game is split up investigation and courtroom, right? Isn't that still going to be...
The whole idea was that the courtroom is like that cathartic release. Like, you're doing everything else. You're getting all the evidence and gathering up your argument.
To this crescendo moment in the courtroom.
It's basically like a boss battle in an RPG. It's like the best.
Right. That's a good way of putting it.
So not having it it just didn't feel right. And so to be back with these characters again, to be in the courtroom, to be with the familiar, Phoenix Wright, to be with the music again, it was just, for me, it was very nostalgic. And, just as a fan, it was probably my game of the show just because of that. Mm-hmm. But it was just a blast to play. And I mean, TGS is not the best place in the world for these types of games.
Yeah, you want to take your time and read everything. And
these are the sort of games you want to like sit down on your couch or wherever you are and just really focus on it. Put your headphones on and just you're in that world. And you can't do that at TGS. So it's just, as a TGS demo, not so great, but the game itself looks very promising.
Well, I even watched other people after I finished. I watched and see if these Japanese people could finish it, and they didn't even finish. So.
Yeah.
But so the whole story in the beginning, though, which was kind of interesting, is that there was this explosion that went off in the courtroom, right?
Yes, in the courthouse, yeah.
And then they're actually blaming this little girl.
Yep.
It was like she couldn't hurt a fly. And she's on the stand and being cross-examined. And she's like apparently this little girl who likes nature. And yet blame is being pinned on her. And just to go back to this whole mujun, this contradiction, the new game element in there, I got as far as this one part, and there was a part where your guy is cross-examining her. You're the defense attorney for her, so you're doing like the friendly cross-examination, and you're trying to lead her so that she answers the questions a certain way, and she doesn't do a very good job at it. And he asks her to recount the events, and he asks her, like, well, what happened? She says, well, the bomb went off in the courtroom, and I didn't have time to escape. And then, like, it shows when they try to read her true feelings, it says that she's shocked, right? And that's, of course, that's normal. So when you look at it, you're like, what she said, and this shocked little picture in the lower right-hand corner is fine. So there's really nothing there. But then she says, I saw, like, this huge piece of rock that was hanging precipitously, and it was going to crush me. And then it showed her smiling.
And you're like, what?
And you're like, what? So you had to actually, that's a contradiction. So you had to actually press the smile button because you're saying like skitomeru, which means you're taking issue with what she just said. And then you ask her to recount that, like, why are you happy? You seem like you are just happy right now. And she's like, oh. And then she tries to fumble for some words. And she's like, well, actually what I meant to say is that actually one of the bailiffs was there and he dived for me and he saved me. And then she gives that information that she should have said, but she didn't say.
Yeah, she elaborates on her initial statement.
Exactly. And then that helps her on the stand. So there's this part of you trying to like guide her through. And then also if you see emotions, that are strange, like for example, when the other guy, he noticed that if she's happy when she was ready to die, there's this other dodgy character in there, then you can call him out on that. Like, why was he happy when the rock was ready to fall on her? Then you can call him out on that.
Yeah. So
it's to save somebody and to actually, throw the heat on other people as well. I thought it's an interesting way of leading the game. It seems kind of linear, but in a way it's not, because you're using your brain to move forward.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, Stephen, obviously you're new to this type of game, or to this game as a whole.
Didn't really even know about it, so that's kind of why I'm pumped right now.
So
you should go back play 1 and 2 and 3.
Yeah, I was going to say you should go get the 1, 2, and 3.
Get them on iOS.
Oh, iOS. That sounds like a really good idea.
Because the art is really beautiful in 2D art, and it will look better on the iPhone than on the Google.
Which are they?
What's that?
They have bilingual versions? Curious.
No, you need to go to the Japanese store if you want the Japanese version.
That's fine. That's probably better.
The DS versions, didn't they have English on the card?
1, 2, and 3. 1, 2, and 3 have English and Japanese on the card.
Right.
4 does not, though.
Right. Maybe the iOS version too. Then I need to check that.
Yeah, maybe if
I
you
was wrong.
switch settings. I don't know.
I'm kind of curious to see the prosecutor, because like there's this prosecutor in the game who's been there all the time, and gradually his like hair is receding.
Oh yeah, Winston Payne.
Right.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so in this new game, it's his younger brother, and he's got a full head of hair again. I just thought that was funny.
Oh, okay.
He's like his mean younger brother. It's
His mean younger brother. He totally looked like William H. Macy. I just think about him all the time. Really dodgy. But anyway, I'm kind of pumped for this game.
Yeah.
So I was going to say, I guess you're going to pick this up then.
Yeah, definitely day one.
Yeah, me too. I'm really excited for that.
And nice.
Spreading your wings, aren't you there? Steven's
we
spreading his wings, right?
Sure.
Really, this is kind of not really spreading the wings. Maybe I just kind of this one slipped through the cracks.
Okay.
But you've never played this type of game before, though, right?
Well, I mean, I don't know. To me, it's kind of the same vein as Layton a little bit. I mean, there's puzzles involved, but it's more dynamic.
This is closer to just a traditional adventure game. I think, like a Western adventure game.
Okay, cool.
So let's just go back very quickly to the Layton game, Layton versus Ace Attorney, because just one other difference that I noticed when I played that is the level 5 game is voice acted, actually.
Yes.
And they use 2D cutscenes, like what's that? Like anime cutscenes, just like they would do in Layton, right?
Yeah.
So that's like one big difference.
Actually,
the way Capcom does it and the way Level 5 does it. Go ahead.
Actually, that I found out afterward that isn't a difference, because there are animated cutscenes in Ace Attorney 5.
Oh, really?
After the fact. I found out, I believe it's Bones. I think it's Bones or IG, Production IG animating it. Nice, but yeah, there are fully voiced cutscenes, so.
Oh, okay. So are they going to be using the same voice actor, you think, in the Level 5 game and the Capcom game?
Maybe, at least for Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, I hope so. And so the Level 5 game is coming out next month, right?
November,
soon.
Yeah.
So I thought it was interesting because before the announcement of Ace Attorney 5, I wasn't excited about the Level 5 game at all. I wasn't going to pick it up. But now that I know that Ace Attorney 5 is coming out soon, I'm like, I want to get back into the series, and this Ace Attorney versus Professor Layton game is like,
it's right there.
I wasn't going to... Yeah, it's
smart, maybe.
It's going to go out next month. And I still have 6 months to wait for Gekuten Saiban 5.
Like, I got to get the kicks in now.
Yeah.
That's a good way of framing it.
I think it's really smart. I don't know if it was on purpose, announcing Ace Attorney 5 just before Ace Attorney versus Professor Layton comes out, but yeah, I think it's working.
Because I know for me, I'm like I want to get back to this character again.
Mm-hmm, exactly.
So I want to get back to him as soon as possible. So November, I'm picking that up day one, even despite my issues with the demo I played. I'm just like, oh no, I'm there. Yeah.
Cheesy, what games did you like the best? Of the two.
I played Ace Attorney 5 and Professor Layton 6, and they're both pretty slow-paced, I didn't get a chance to play Ace Attorney versus Professor Layton.
Well,
of the two I played, I think that Ace Attorney 5 is probably going to be the more interesting one, because you have to actually analyze the characters' emotions and reactions and try to corner them into perjuring themselves or whatever. So, it might be interesting.
Well, what about Layton? We haven't really talked about that. You think it's more an extension of, like, the Masked Man? What was that one called?
Oh, the Phantom.
The
Phantom,
Yeah.
More the same?
6, it's like, talk to some characters, solve some puzzles, really, really slow-paced. I mean, I didn't, spend a whole lot of time with it because, it seems like that's a demo at Tokyo Game Show is not really the best place to be playing that kind of slow-paced game.
All that stuff is really,
I mean, I felt bad, just kind of spending minute after minute on that game. I'm like, okay, and next is, it's like the whole pacing of a trade show versus slow logic puzzle game. It's really mismatched.
They're almost better just as a demo. Like here's a demo. Like if you brought your 3DS or your Vita, those types, anything handheld, if you bring it in and for 48 hours, you can play the demo as many times as you want, and then it cancels out or something.
Yeah, if it were a downloadable,
go back to your hotel room or something and play it. Kind of, I think
it's interesting.
Yeah.
It's interesting because I was going to talk about that and at the end and say, like all these game shows at TGS and E3, do we still need them now that we can send demos to the player through the stores, right? And some games, I was like Monster Hunter 4, you need 4 players, so you need people to come to the show floor to play the game.
I see.
But Professor Layton, you don't need that. You just send it on the eShop and people will try it, and if they're excited, they'll buy the game, and that's it.
Do you think word of mouth is more important than like the word from a journalist?
Well, because the word from a journalist in this case, I was writing about a ton of games, and for me, like I didn't write about Ace Attorney versus Professor Layton because it was just like the environment is not conducive to playing a text-driven adventure game. Like it's just you're not able to really enjoy the music or the atmosphere or take your time with it because you have this time limit imposed on you. You're always in a rush, and I agree with Mehdi. It's better to just get those demos out there into people's hands.
I'm just gonna get drowned with all the other announcements, all the other big games. So they're missing all the PR opportunity of just.
It just seems though that the people who are in, like, you'll get journalists who favor one game more than the other, and you get a journalist who doesn't really favor the game, and he's doing his first look write up on it. He's going to just barely touch upon anything, especially if it's all in Japanese. Whereas if you get a journalist who really liked it, I would like to see at least somebody out there giving it a proper first look. Or, I don't know, it seems like that's the natural order of things rather than just giving it to all the players first.
But I think that's also a problem, too, with Western journalism and whether they have writers on hand who understand the language or not. Otherwise, it's a pointless endeavor. I read previews of Ace Attorney 5 from people who don't speak Japanese.
Come
and
on,
it's pointless. It's pointless. Like,
what's
there's
the
no
point?
Any good write ups on it? Just
mine.
Nice.
Where can you find that write up? Where can you find that write up?
I mean, with
Japanate or through Destructoid, pimping yourself.
With text stuff like that, like if you're gonna have your Western journalists talk about it, like if they don't know Japanese, then just don't have them play it because it's a waste of time.
Okay.
Okay. Dokie. Right. I noticed that when we arrived at the train station, Elliot kind of went nuts when he started seeing posters of one specific type 3DS game, right?
Yes.
You were taking photographs of what, sir?
I was taking photographs of Project X Zone, the Namco Bandai Sega. I'm being distracted here. Okay, we should probably go back to this joke. I'm getting spammed here.
Oh, okay. No, Cheesy.
I can't focus. You guys are just like burp, burp, burp.
Cheesy's joke. Bring her in.
I'm just a simple player. Your gameplay mechanics frighten and confuse me. There are now polygons where there once were only sprites. When I first saw them, I thought there were little people inside this glowing box. But I do know one thing. Should these games come out only in Japan, then region locking should be illegal. Thank you.
You could do closer for every topic like that.
So,
are you petting a cat, by the way? Are you like stroking a cat? Like a velvet chair. Okay.
So, Project X Zone. It's the 3DS game between Namco Bandai, Capcom, and Sega. And it's basically it's a strategy RPG using characters from all three of these companies' different game franchises, franchises that are have long since been dead, and franchises that are still super popular now. Basically, it's selling itself on fan service entirely. You're buying this game, you're playing it so you can see your favorite characters go at it. Have you ever wanted to see Ryu from Street Fighter fight, I don't know, Sonic the Hedgehog? Then play Project X Zone, sort of thing. The game demo itself was fairly basic. You get put on the battlefield, a typical strategy RPG battlefield, and you have your different units. A couple characters were talking on screen. Xiaoyu from Tekken was talking to bots from rival schools. and they were just having a conversation about the monsters on screen. The actual field itself was a Ghosts and Goblins stage, so it was a cemetery. And you were fighting zombies, you were fighting Red Arimer from Ghosts and Goblins. So it was all very much so. Everything about this level was connected to, either Capcom games or Bandai Namco or Sega. And when you move your characters around, obviously you come into contact with an enemy and you get into battle. The way battles work is you input commands. So, for example, forward X will do a certain move, up circle will do a certain move. It's kind of like a really, really basic fighting game engine. And so you're chaining these combos together in pairs. You have two characters on screen, and you're juggling these enemies in the air completely helplessly. And you can execute special attacks where you bring in a third character who does a crazy, screen exploding move. But it's all very timing based. It's very fast. It's very frantic. My biggest concern was whether or not this will be able to sustain itself for an entire game. It felt like it would get really old really fast, in which case the only thing holding the game together is its really, really pretty sprite work and its fan service. It comes out pretty soon. It's in a few weeks, I believe. And I'll be picking it up. So look for more detailed impressions then. But as it stands, I'm not sure. And I know for a fact this is just... The chances of this going west are so low. But Harada, the producer of the Tekken series, actually said that...
He tweeted something, right?
Yeah, he tweeted that he proposed bringing the game west to the higher-ups at Namco Bandai, which is really cool of him. He's a fan favorite on Twitter, and he does some great work with the Tekken series. But whether or not that's actually possible, we'll see.
I haven't seen anything about this game, but the way Martin presented it, all the posters in the station, the art looked really good, the 2D art.
The sprite work is also just really, really pretty to look at. It just looks great. Seeing some of your favorite modern characters as 2D sprites there's something very, grabbing about that.
And so they redid the art for all the games, right? I saw Jill from Biohazard, and she doesn't look like anything from the game. So they remade the whole character design just for this game, apparently, right?
Yeah, and then some characters like Mega Man and Zero, like they sort of retained their like canon background from the series. So like if you've been wanting to see what Mega Man X and Zero are up to, you play Project X Zone and wish that there was a new Mega Man.
And I bet they also use the music from all the respective games for each character.
It's remixed music from all the respective games, which is another...
Nice.
So it's kind of hard to play in that sense because, I was at TGS and it's loud and it's making sounds, but when I was playing with Mega Man X and Zero, I could hear the Mega Man X theme in the background, and that was a really nice piece of nostalgia. I mean, you sort of know what you're getting into. It's basically fan service, the game. But, I mean, that's why you're buying it, because it's just so crazy.
Interesting. I'll be looking forward to hearing what you think about the final game, to be honest.
Hopefully it's okay. We'll see.
Let's change the topic and go to Metal Gear Rising.
Metal Gear.
I think Mehdi played this at least, 6 times?
No, I wanted to play it 6 times.
His first day.
10 times. But I ended up playing only 4 times. But there were some lines.
Only 4 times.
Only 4 times. So I take it this is your game of the show then?
Oh, yeah, by far. It was really fun to play. Really. It looked great. It played great. It was and they teased a lot of things they had a staged show that we watched. Steve and I, we watched that, right?
2 hours. You roped me into that one.
What? There was a stage show for 2 hours?
There was 2 shows. The first one was just a movie that was a short, like a sum up of what they showed August the 30th in Tokyo Roppongi. They had a big announcement when they talked about the movie, MGS the movie. They talked about MGS Social Ops. They talked about
That was when Twitter went on the dark side of the moon.
That's it. And they showed Ground Zeroes for the first time ever. And all the footage from that announcement was private. So if it was for the first time, it was available to the public. So I watched that. And then they have a real stage show with Kojima and all the staff from Platinum Games and the staff from Kojima Productions. And they talked about the game, and they showed the new trailer about Rising.
It's worth noting, too, that he bragged that he's like, there are only one of two movie projectors in Japan that can show it at this quality. And he's just got this, like, sort of self-assured, I am the man. And it did look beautiful for that, because you'll never see the game that beautiful again. Let's just put it that way. So Mehdi was right to, like, stick around to see it.
It was worth it. And, they announced some new characters. So I don't remember the names. I'm really sorry. But so the good guys and the bad guys. The good guys that work with Raiden, and you can Raiden, or Raiden in English. So people are going to hate me for saying Raiden.
Kano and Long Tao, maybe.
So the good guys, you can call them use the codec call, just like in a regular Metal Gear Solid game. So that was a good surprise. And then they showed the new bosses.
They're crazy.
Yeah.
Oh
really.
My god.
You know how the bosses are always themed in a Metal Gear Solid game, and I like how it's also the case here in Rising. So all the main bosses in the game are all robots.
Cyborgs.
Cyborgs. That's the word I'm looking for. All cyborgs that look really like they have the same technology than Raiden is using, and all their names, from what I've got, they're wind names. Like one of them has the what was it? Mistral.
All elemental names, yeah.
That's it. So the first one was Mistral, which is a French word for wind, and the other one was Spanish. What was it again? Anyway, it was a Spanish word for wind, and then like they all had like this wind theme names. And I thought that was interesting because I like how all the Metal Gear games, they put lots of efforts in all the enemies.
Little subtle details, yeah.
Right? And they showed that. They showed in the trailer still. They showed sneaking missions. So
wait, explain the bosses though in detail. The two bosses, enemy bosses.
Picture at the same time because I don't have that on the top of my head. But
so I just dropped a picture in. If you scroll up to the top, but there's this chick, and I actually thought she was just a normal human, but she is a robot by looking at her feet.
The chick's name is Tral.
Yeah, and she like screams out, "Oh, Jack the Ripper is here!" And then she takes her arms and she combines them into one like long arm.
And she has many arms, right?
But do you know how she got those arms? What would you call those little guys with those arms?
Oh, the roly dudes.
Small enemies that were in MGS4 already.
Yeah, they all come up to her and they give their arms to her.
Okay. That's that. Okay.
Oh yeah, that was so awesome because like in the watermelon demo reels where they actually hold up the watermelons and Raiden cuts them. Yeah, they all run up to her and then they give all their arms and like suddenly the arms come down like a spider, and then she just starts like running at you very like Linda Blair on the backwards under the stairs, and it was really freaky. So I'm like thinking like, oh, he's got to cut all these arms. So I'm thinking like the gameplay ramifications here. I'm like, this is awesome. You can't.
Is that chapter of the game called A Farewell to Arms?
I'm gonna just leave now.
Well, that would be a positive outcome of it.
Okay.
And then the other guy, he like jumps from the sky, and as he jumps, like it's like he like sausage slices his whole body.
That was a term now.
That's a technical term. By the way.
Like self-sausage.
Self-sausage immolation. Really, they all come out, and then so I'm seeing this and going, I'm going to have to go into blade mode, and I'm going to try to slice this guy, but I'm going to whiff through him instead.
Yeah, you can't cut him because he's already in pieces.
He's already in pieces.
And his name is Monsoon, by the way, which is also a wind name, right? Or
right, yeah, it's also wind related.
Yeah, Indian or something like that, right?
Yes.
And then the other one is Sundowner, and he's this really big fat guy with a really big sword. And there are the three bosses they shown in the trailer, right?
Yes.
And then so they also we saw some sneaking elements in the game for the first time. So we saw Raiden entering an enemy base and trying to walk
the cameras.
That's it, and walk along the walls and not to be seen by the enemy and killing the enemies from behind and doing ninja stuff. And that was interesting because it's not only an action game in the end. It's like
it is a Metal Gear game.
It's lots of action, but also a little bit of sneaking here and there.
And this is kind of what was interesting because Kojima tried to do this but couldn't. And then when we first saw that Platinum Games was doing this, it looked like it was going to just all be hyper combat. But in the end, Platinum pulled off what Kojima couldn't. So
Kojima Productions couldn't. Okay.
So I think this is what this goes back to like a million podcasts ago that the idea worked, but Kojima couldn't pull it off, and Platinum just did. Zing.
Productions. Okay.
So that's all I wanted to say about that.
So let's talk about the demo a little bit. The TGS demo was different from the E3 demo.
I think about the trailer. They teased that Sunny's going to be back. So yes. Sunny, the little girl, was in MGS4.
Yes.
So to explain what they said about Sunny, I'm going to have to tell you what they said about Raiden, because Kojima finally explained why in all the trailers you could see different models of Raiden. So they had Blue Raiden, which is like the noob Raiden in MGS2. And then they have the white Raiden, which is the one in MGS4. And then you have Black Raiden, which is the one in Rising. And so the story in Rising takes place a few years after MGS4.
I believe it's 4 years, I want to say.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah.
And so the noob that was Blue Raiden became White Raiden, this badass guy which is a cyborg in MGS4. And what happens at the start of Rising, he actually told us how the game is going to start, is that you're going to be facing someone, and he's going to beat your ass, and Raiden is going to be like destroyed, completely destroyed, and he's going to do something that we don't know yet what, but he's going to go through something that's going to change him, and he's going to become Black Raiden. And that's when the real game starts. And that's when he becomes the badass that he is in Metal Gear Rising. So that explains why he looked different in the trailers, because he will actually go through a first failure, and then he's going to come back for more.
So this is a revenge story. This really is revengeance.
Vengeance, yes. And so he goes through this Seicho. What's that?
Growth.
And Sunny also, she went through a growth in the game, and you're gonna be even more surprised by how much she changed from the game, from MGS4 to Rising. So we're looking forward to see what she's gonna look like in this game, because we still don't know.
Hopefully, better at making eggs.
Yeah. I don't know if she's gonna have time to cook eggs in this game though.
So
that's the new characters. Oh, there's another one. Samuel Rodriguez. He's the guy who looks like Vamp.
Yeah.
And I still don't know exactly what's his role in the game. Is he a good guy or a bad guy? So we still have to wait for that. So that's about it for what they talked about on stage, right?
Yeah. Well, he did say that he did joke about social ops for a second, and they're like, why they wanted to finish social ops, and he's like, well, I want to get that out of the door for 5.
Right.
I was like, 5? He's like, 5. And everyone's just like murmuring like
5.
They're like Ace Attorney courtroom. It's like, what does this mean? And then he didn't really expound on that much, but I think he was hinting at something really huge there.
It's
like
really
5.
It's really interesting because he's trying to get rid of this project, like Social Ops and Rising and even Ground Zeroes. It's almost like he's trying to get all of these games out of to the market, so he can finally start talking about MGS5. I hope,
which is kind of amazing because it's a pretty packed, well balanced lineup, and he's already saying, I just want to shoo these off so I can get to the good stuff. And Ground Zeroes looked amazing.
Ground Zeroes looks like 5 to me.
It does look like it could be 5.
He said that on stage again. He said on stage, no, it's not 5. It's just a prologue, which I have no idea what he meant by that.
Yeah, what does that mean?
What is
prologue?
It?
Like story speaking, like the events, or is it like prologue, like a GT5 prologue? Like you're gonna buy a game?
Yeah.
and you're gonna start playing with that, and you're gonna have fun, and then you're gonna wait two years, and then you can finally get the real game.
Yeah, like a $10 demo, like not a demo, but like a $10 prologue. It's going to like what is he talking about?
I don't know, and he keeps saying, no, it's a prologue, it's not 5. I want to show 5, but not yet, or something like that. And then he says, what's that? Project Ogre?
Project Ogre. Is that because he never said that was Zone of Enders 3, right? That's still something different.
Still said no. There's no ogres in the Ground Zeroes trailer, so no, you guys gotta wait for that. It's still not my secret.
Oh man, he's teasing with other.
Yeah. Amazing. So that was for the stage show. So that was really interesting to listen to. They talked. Inaba was on stage, and Kojima told Inaba that if they delay the game, they're gonna have a Batsu game. What's that?
Punishment game.
Game to the whole Platinum team. So I think the game is going to come out on time in February 2013. So
I think they're on track. Yeah.
The game is like almost done from what we've played, right?
Oh man, it felt so good. Can we talk about that demo? Because
they had right. The first one was E3 demo. Everyone knows that. Everyone played it at E3.
2 demos, right? Yeah.
Yes.
It was exactly the same demo, and it was fun. And then they had the new demo, which was this demo. And so it started in a VR mission with like fake environments, and it teaches you how to play, how to slice through enemies, how to use the blade mode, which makes you go into it's not a first-person view, right? Just the camera gets closer.
It's a very close third-person view. It's like over the shoulder.
Yeah. So you get into this over-the-shoulder view, and you can slice the enemies using the right analog stick. And you can slice really, really fast if you just move the analog sticks in all directions. And there's a counter on screen that says how many hits you have. And it's really, really exciting to just like cut an enemy in 265 pieces.
Slice and dice.
Yeah, it feels really good. So they teach you that, and then they send you on for a first mission.
Yes.
And so you're on the beach, and you have to jump. You can either go up a stairs, or you can just cut the stairs because you can destroy all the environment is destructible. You can cut
for the most part. There's some stuff you can't cut, but I mean it's actually pretty wide range of things.
Also, can I just back up for a second? How he gets to the island is like the most stylish thing I've ever seen.
He's in this huge ship, right, at first.
It's like very, what's that movie? Flight of the Navigator? He's just like bolting across just like 10 feet above the water line.
Yeah.
And he a bombardier doors open up and like he comes out and then
like a missile
jettisons off like a missile. Like shoots out these like jet thrusters out of his feet or something, comes up and then lands down in the water. And it like creates this like helicopter ripple effect with the water sort of. And yeah, that was like the most stylish entry if ever that makes it into a film. Like just use that scene.
I just all the cutscenes and I haven't listened to any of the dialogues. I don't want to hear anything, so I don't really know what you're talking about, but yeah.
I know, just he skipped through he literally, I was watching when Mehdi played.
Oh, sorry, Mehdi.
Times, and he just pressed start as soon as cutscenes started.
Anything. I just wanted to play the game and not spoil myself about the story or anything.
Soil yourself, I think is.
So can we carry on with the demo, yeah?
So you go up the stairs and enemies appear and you start killing them and at first it's really simple, you're just bashing the square button for a weak attack and triangle for strong attacks. And X is for jumping, right? And circle is for like action, like
actions
down or things like that. So I'm just going to say one thing about this game. I've heard like many people complain online and in other podcasts, where is the dodge button?
Where's the block button as well? That was another big one.
So first of all, Raiden doesn't dodge. He's badass. He never runs away from the enemies. He's fast enough. He's strong enough. He doesn't need to dodge. And I think... like
Mehdi putting it straight, eh?
Right? But this is only my supposition. But I think they didn't want to end up with a game that plays the same way than Bayonetta. You know how
which is all about dodging.
Exactly. You dodge and you counterattack, and you do that all the time. And if they added this to Rising, you'll end up playing exactly like Bayonetta, but with Raiden skin on it. That's it.
Yeah.
So it's smart that they say, okay, we're gonna make a game that plays completely differently. You cannot dodge. It's not even like God of War where you use the right stick so you can roll in every directions. No, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
The only thing you can do. Well, here's the thing. It's really close to Batman. What was it called again?
Arkham Asylum, Arkham City.
Right. The way he plays in that, if you see an enemy that's gonna attack you from the back, you can use the attack button, the square or triangle. I don't remember which one, and he's gonna counterattack that enemy. So it's very similar to the way that Batman played, if you remember that game.
Yeah.
So that's the answer about why can't you dodge in Rising. Because you don't. You just attack and counterattack and keep.
Isn't it all timing though?
What's that?
Isn't it timing? So when they attack you, as they attack you, you have to time your attack to counter their attack, right?
Exactly. That's how it works.
Also, Mitty, I remember this clearly because I watched you play a few times, and we did finally eventually figure it out. But there is a block button, correct? There was, I believe, he puts the sword in front of him, and it just gets hammered down on him.
It's the attack button.
Yeah.
So it's really hard to get all this, because you're playing, and there's a clock on the table that tells you only have this amount of minutes left. And so I'm not sure I remember everything, but there's one thing, like if you don't move, you don't press anything, he's gonna guard everything that, like, all the attacks, I think. And if you actually run in ninja mode and enemy shoots at you, he's gonna counter all the bullets with the blade.
Yeah.
So it was that. But when you're in close combat fighting the enemies, I think the only way was to counter. I'm gonna have.
I do remember you trying to block against the wolf boss. And you succeeded like the first time, but he would always just knock you down on the second.
So, we're going to have a demo in 2 weeks that comes out with Zone of the Enders HD. Zone of the Enders HD comes out free with the demo.
Hey, Zone of the Enders series is an amazing action game in its own right. Let's not knock it.
But I'm going to day one, and the first thing I'm going to do is download the demo from the PSN and play that first. And then Zone of the Enders, like
5 times.
Wait. So the demo isn't actually on the disc. You have to download it.
We don't know that yet, do we?
On the Japanese version, it's been confirmed that you're going to have to download it.
Okay.
And I don't know yet for the US version because the US Blu-ray said the Blu-ray disc itself says Zone of the Enders HD, and under that with Rising demo on it. So I think it's on the disc for the US. I'm not sure yet. Anyway, so you play the demo. You get used to the slicing the enemies, and so it plays very.
What about the after you slice? Then there's the slice and steal Zandatsu, the taking of the energy away. What was the best cutting method to ensure getting the energy out?
So to enter the not the ninja mode, what was it called? The
blade mode.
There's a blue bar of energy on the screen, and that's
like a blue geometric plane. It's like in a circular that you can move around in a circular fashion, right?
The blade, but you have actually there's an energy
bar. There's an energy bar, yeah.
And when you use that blade mode, and to get more energy for the blade mode, you need to steal this blue magic thing from the enemies. So it's almost like soul sacrifice. That do you save that energy, or do you sacrifice them in a sense that you can slice them in 1,000 pieces, and that gets you combo meter up, so you get a higher score, but you don't get any of the magic because you destroy the blue spine that they have inside them.
Yes.
Slice them, just slice like twice or 3 times.
Right. It was like an X cut. And you had to go right below the torso and then sort of like above it.
There's a hint on the screen where to slice the enemy. There's a little hint on the screen. You slice it to get the blue.
Oh, okay.
It also restores your health as well, in addition to your blade bar.
I thought that was only the gears that you get on the field.
I could have swore that the blue stuff did as well, because during the wolf boss, when some of the guys jumped down, I stole some of their energy, and it gave me meter, and it also gave me a little bit of health.
It gives you both. So you can either do that and get health and magic for blade, or you can kill them and keep slicing them to get a higher combo meter. So that's it's interesting, you know. So you can do that on big bosses or big enemies. They just your blades gonna bounce on it. So like when we're fighting the big the geckos, you need to like weaken them first, and then they're gonna start shining blue. And when they kind of start, you know, this blue color on them, that means okay, you can start slicing them.
Well, that part of them you can slice. Like in the gecko's instance, like the leg would start shining blue, and that meant you could cut the leg. But if you tried to cut any other part of him, it wouldn't work. But if you cut the blue area, you'd be able to cut the rest of him just fine.
Yeah,
you said to make that.
Did you like the fact that they were hinting where you needed to cut?
Yeah, I think because with really big enemies, you need that kind of hint.
Don't you just want to like hit them and go ding, and, you know, and like the blade ricochets, and then you're like, that didn't work. I need to try somewhere else. Don't you prefer that?
I like, you know, in these action games that go really fast, I like when they use colors like that. It's like it's almost a Capcom game. Like enemies before they attack, they flash red, and they show you the weak points, and they show you when they're ready to be sliced because they shine in blue. So, you know, all these color messages that are easy to understand for the gamer. So you just, you know, there's no hesitation. You just play with the rules. So
and it keeps the pace up as well. You're not, you know, slowed, especially in a game like this where you're constantly moving. You're not slowed down by, like, where am I supposed to like attack him? Because in that sense, it's not really strategic anymore. You're just slashing whatever you can find to see what happens. Yeah. And I mean, that's kind of misses the point of a game like this. You know, it's like, oh, well, here's where you can slash. If you can do it, you can do it. If you can't, you can't, because this thing is constantly running around. So the difficulty's still there, even if you know where to slash. You know.
When you were fighting the geckos, one thing I did was, I just remembered from the earlier demos, it's like you can cut anything. So I ran over to the pillars and cut them all down.
That's
like that all came falling down on them, and they looked like they sustained damage that way. So I thought that was kind of cool.
Mehdi tried to do that a lot, and it didn't work once.
He was cutting the wrong side. That's why. So when the columns fell down, they fell down on the opposite side of where.
Oh, is that what he did?
Yeah. His angles were all wrong, so that's what I noticed as well. But no, it looks spectacular. The game. I mean,
60 frames per second.
Yeah, 60 frames a second. It was butter smooth. The action was fast and it was intense. Wow. I mean, Platinum certainly know what they're doing when it comes to their tech. Their tech is amazing.
Yeah, and Koji Pro together is just.
It's a dream.
It is a dream collaboration, and I think that Koji Pro really needed Platinum Games. They did get the award for like in the Futures division for games that have yet to come out. There was a slew of them, and they were one of them. So I was really happy to see that. That's just like the first of many milestones. You know, that you obviously want to see a game that's looking good receive. It probably motivates them a lot.
Yeah, I mean, hopefully this is their first big, really, really big seller for Platinum. You know,
I just felt like it was to be a big seller, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like it can't be a big seller. I mean, it has to be a big seller because of the name attached to
Series,
it, Metal Gear.
Yeah. And plus, I think there are a lot of people who really liked Vanquish, and that was kind of like a cult. Was it sort of like niche? It was a dark horse. Never really.
This was a very, very dark horse.
A lot of people. Like, I just remember a lot of people really like think this is an amazing game. And then there are moments where you're seeing Raiden like sliding on the ground, just like in Vanquish, like Sam Gideon did. I was like, oh yes. And so they're taking things that worked from the game and like just secretly putting them in. And if you notice, they're all there.
It's really, really different from Vanquish. Like, there's no cover. You can't cover it behind a wall. There's no, the sliding technique you said, you don't really slide. You can't.
But you do. There is a slide. It's in the new demo. I mean, it's in the new trailer.
Yeah, it's
totally slides and goes into bullet time.
You can enter ninja mode, and if I remember correctly, you run towards an enemy and press triangle. He's gonna like slide and kick him at the same time. But that's it. It's not like Vanquish. You would move across the whole field while sliding. You know.
And if you see the very last second of the new TGS trailer, there is such a huge boss.
Yeah.
And then also right before that, there are parts where he's running vertically down a cliff side, and then also parts where the enemies are very much, these bosses are just like this type you were seeing in Vanquish, where they're shooting missiles out and stuff like that.
Just pure insanity on the screen.
So I don't know. I think there's going to be some crazy stuff going on.
Yeah.
Oh, I want it bad.
Oh, I'm really excited about that game. Yeah, it's gonna be great. I think it's one of these games, you know, like the more you play it, like the better you get at it, the better it feels, you know. It's really rewarding and it looks good on screen, you know. When you start to get better in it and you run towards an enemy and you start hitting him with the blade, and then you have these special attacks when you press X and square at the same time. So he's going to use his blade to throw the enemy into the air, and you actually can jump and keep hitting him and enter blade mode.
In slow motion in midair.
In midair, and slice him in midair and grab the blue thing and eat that energy, and then and fall down, and it just feels so good when you do that.
Yeah, so it's very rewarding.
I think there are a lot of people, journalists, who just got the game wrong and the controls wrong because they didn't get their head wrapped around it. And it totally made me understand why on Saturday, Sunday, when they have these big events, they usually get like a super player to come out and do like a super player demo. And on Saturday, they did do that. I watched a live stream of it on Nico Nico.
It was right. The game from Platinum.
Yeah,
I see that.
I actually ended up correcting Kotaku in the press room because they were like, there's no way to dodge or counter. Like, there's nothing you can do. Like, you just have to run away. And I had to chime in because after watching Medi play 4 times, you know, it was definitely like a block counter attack.
Well, that's Kotaku for you, isn't it? They always get everything wrong.
They corrected it.
If you just watch the trailer, you would see the blocks. I mean, it's clear he's blocked.
But I mean, a lot of press, though, in general, seem to have just missed that entirely. Which, to be fair, it wasn't written anywhere. Like, because we were looking for it. Like, we were just like, where's the block? Where is it?
I just want to say, people, it's a game you have to play being very offensive. You're not trying to dodge the enemies or counter them. You have to adapt them than they do. That's the whole thing. You have to be fast and just slice them before they do. So that's how you gotta feel the game, right?
Yeah, definitely.
Cool. So, Medi, Social Ops, I beg your pardon, on mobile games. Did you play that at all?
You know, Greek game, social game that's coming out on iPhones and Android and everything. Yeah. And it's also coming out in the West. So,
what is it?
Man, bad. Oh man, it is bad.
It's a Greek game.
It's a Greek game in the real sense of it. So all you do, I think, games before, all you do is stab the screen again and again and again.
Screen, I love it.
Nothing else to do. So
the next button.
It's full 3D. It looks better than Peace Walker, and so you have Snake, and you're in a field, the Peace Walker looking stage, and what's her name? Mei Ling. She tells you, okay, sneak in. So they show you the level, and you think you're going to move Snake, but no, all you do is tap the screen, tap anywhere, and that's it. And he moves it, and then you get behind an enemy, and like, okay, attack him. Okay, what am I supposed to do? Tap the screen. You tap the screen.
Just tap it in.
And that's it. And you get new level. You got a new weapon. You got a new this, and you got a new that, and you keep that next. There's a next button on the screen, and you just keep tapping that next. And every time you tap the screen, there's a connecting thing, like a status bar on the top of the screen. So it connects to Greece servers, and you know, because it's a social game, so everything is synchronized on their side. So like every time you gain a new card on you level up, it sends the data to Greece, and then it comes back. So it's really like slow in a way, and not interesting, and not real. And bad, and I can't believe Kojima was trying to hack this on stage and be like, "Oh yeah, we've been working really hard on this, and it looks good, and you're gonna have all the main characters from the series and this and that. It's gonna come out in the West. It's gonna be in English and Japanese and all of that, and all the music and all of that. And I get this voice, which is not Kojima's voice. I don't know what I'm talking." Man, it was bad. It was so bad. Oh, and they still haven't announced if it's gonna be free or not. I don't know, but I hope it's going to be free. Because
these games typically are.
Yeah, these games are usually free, and so you have action points. I'm going to be really short. action points. Every time you move Snake or you shoot an enemy, you use action points. And when you run out of action points,
Oh dear God!
and all you have to do is wait in real time, every hour will give you 1 point back.
Or you can buy points, right?
Or buy points. How about 500 points for 5,000 yen, so you can play the game without having to wait hours? How about that? So
Social gaming!
Exactly. It is social gaming at its
It's
worst.
like Zynga and Facebook right there.
Like, Gree is worse than anything, dear listeners, that you could ever imagine. It really is just tap the screen.
Well, it's made for the when you're in the bank line, right? And you just standing there
The
waiting
long
to get
bank line
served.
right around lunchtime.
Like, as much as we laugh at Zynga and stuff, at least those games actually have other buttons you press. Gree games are like all card games, and you just press the screen over and over again, no matter how it looks.
You know, the funny thing is that they give you this special card of Snake, Big Boss from Ground Zeroes, which is a very collectible card if you play the game at TGS. And the only way to get the card in the full game that's not out yet is to register the card on Gree's website. And you have to go to the website and register your email address, and then you have to register your phone number, and they send you a text, and you reply to the text message, and then you can register the card to get the Snake card when you play the game. And I tried to do that, and it didn't work. I'm still waiting for the text message from Gree, and I tried it like a couple of times, and it never sent it to me. So
You're one of the lucky ones then.
You basically sold your soul to the devil.
Yeah, and I didn't even get the collectible card, so fuck you, Gree. Oh, sorry.
Hey, not having any of that. Even if it's Gree talk.
Oh my goodness! So let's
Gree
move
brings out
on.
the worst in people.
Let's move on. Let's go to X Troopers. This is a game.
Troopers!
Yes, this is a game on the PS3 and 3DS.
Okay.
Strange combination, but yeah.
Yeah.
This is a game that surprised both me and Elliot.
Oh, big time.
Big time, right?
Yeah, big time.
So you played the 3DS version first, correct?
Yes, on day one, I played the 3DS version with 3 other people, 3 other members of the Japanese press. And for those of you who don't know, X Troopers is basically the game built on the rotting remains of Mega Man Legends 3.
That's been denied by Capcom,
They
actually.
can deny whatever they want, but it plays like Mega Man Legends, so I'm going to hold on to that. And it also has characters from Mega Man Legends 3 in it, so... but anyway, it plays exactly like Mega Man Legends. So typically you lock on to the main character, the main enemy, you strafe and shoot. They included the new boost, which was a gameplay element they had in Mega Man Legends 3 that they seem to have just copied over, which allows you to like move super fast around enemies. The really cool thing about this boost is that when you turn it off, your character continues to go forward using that momentum. So, for instance, you're strafing around an enemy using the boost, and it runs out, but your character will keep strafing for a brief period of time, sliding along the floor while shooting, which is really neat. The 3DS version that I played looked really fantastic, and I think part of this is because of most of this is because of the art style, the aesthetic. Even though the environments are relatively low polygon, they're very colorful. And the lines, the black lines that sort of outline everything are very solid. It's a very nice cel-shaded style. The character animations are fantastic as well. The game looks very sharp on the 3DS, much better than I thought it was going to. Mm-hmm. And this was before I had played the PlayStation 3 version, and I was actually really impressed visually with how the game looked. Playing with 3 other people locally was also a complete and total blast. I just had a lot of fun sitting there playing, and in some ways it was just the most pure fun I had at the show entirely. And when I walked away from it, the only thing I could think of was that I really wanted to buy this game. So I don't know how you were thinking, Martin, when you played the PS3 version, but...
Well, when I looked at the PS3 version, I instantly started to recognize characters and enemies from Lost Planet.
Mm-hmm.
And, Chessy also played the PS3 version as well, right?
Yeah, I thought it was actually a bit barren because it seemed like the levels were designed for the 3DS with a smaller screen. So when you blow that up into high definition, it seemed like the areas were fairly empty and the level designs were fairly straightforward.
Yeah, it seems to be that the demo was like an early part of the game, and it was very tutorial heavy.
Yeah, I could see that.
Telling you what to do. So obviously this is like the very beginning of the game. Basically, it was just telling you how to play it. Obviously, a simple tutorial, and then you got to this like big boss big red boss, right?
Yes.
Did you get to the big red boss? Or I kind of found that it was all you had to do really is just get behind it and shoot it in its back.
Which is easier said than done.
Which was easier. It
tends to roll over you.
Yeah. But I was quite surprised with the AI characters that you had with you, because they seemed to do a pretty good job in the demo I was playing. I don't know if that's the impression that you got. No?
Yeah. No, it seemed like they were doing a reasonable job. I mean, they certainly weren't human controlled, but they were, holding their positions and being useful and firing at the enemies. So.
Yeah, I found them that they were like keeping the enemy occupied while I got round the back.
Right.
And I was quite surprised about that, because normally when you have an AI character like that in a team-based game, normally they don't do anything, or they just get in your way, or they just stand right in front of you while you're trying to shoot the character, the bad guy, right?
Or they just follow you.
Yeah, but in this demo, they were actually taking up different positions within the arena, and taking not taking damage, but giving damage to the boss character, which obviously allowed me to get behind and blow him up. But I quite enjoyed it because it was really fast paced.
Yeah,
I was thinking that when I went into it, because it had it was like evolved from the Lost Planet, I thought it was going to be a lot slower, but it's not.
No, it's very fast.
It's really fast paced and really fluid.
And the boost has a lot to do with that.
Yeah, and the art style as well just plays dividends to it, because it's just really nice comic anime type feel to it.
Yeah,
it just looks really good. But as you were saying, Cheesy, it does feel a little bit like it came from the 3DS,
right?
As for the environments that they were kind of empty in a way. For a good long time. But that was, I mean, the demo was what, 15, 20 minutes?
Yeah, it was about 15 minutes.
Yeah, so I mean the first 10 minutes, it kind of felt empty for a while, and then at the end, just before you got to the boss, they started throwing a lot of enemies and stuff at you, and then obviously the big boss, if you actually got there in time. I saw a lot of people who actually didn't even get to the boss. So they must have came away like, wow, this game's kind of boring, because obviously if you don't even get to the boss, you're not actually seeing the meat and potatoes of the actual demo.
Yeah, exactly.
So
right. I mean, there's one section of the demo where you have to go and open a door. I mean, it's a lot of really conventional, 3D action game type of stuff going on, but the presentation, I think, is really what makes the game. I mean, it's really polished cartoon shading with fairly well developed characters that are trying to tell a story. So, but when I was looking at the cutscenes, all I could see was what Mega Man Legends 3 could have been.
Exactly.
Because the gameplay is just so reminiscent of it. I mean, you'd really have a hard time telling me that it's not.
So, I mean, it hurts too, because like I said, they're actual NPC characters ripped out of what was Legends 3 and put into X-Troopers. Like character models entirely, with like some slight altercations to clothing. And when I was playing the 3DS demo, that was also extremely obvious. But the controls on the 3DS, I was surprised because you don't have the second analog button, but the camera works just fine. And part of that is because of the environments and the way they're designed. Because you don't have to worry so much about like about looking all around the entire arena at any given point. So just having the R button to center the camera worked. The guys I was playing with, we beat the first boss, which was like the rolling guy. I believe you guys also played him in the single player demo. But then because we still had 7 minutes left, we played a harder demo, which was a lot more packed with monsters and areas to go to. It felt a lot more full, I guess you could say. And the boss of that area was this giant multi-armed monster who had like glowing weak points on the limbs, and you could like shoot different body parts off, but he was really powerful. And at the same time, smaller enemies were spawning in the area as well. And it was just a really hard boss battle, but it was a lot of fun with 3 other people. So
yeah, I was, as I said, I was kind of surprised by it because I wasn't going into it thinking of much. And then when you started to play it and you said, whoa, this kind of does feel like Mega Man Legends a little bit. It's like, wow, it's pretty cool, right? So
yeah. So if you like Mega Man Legends, you should probably pick up this game, which has not been announced for the West.
Yeah, well, is that 3DS and PS3 or both?
3DS and, well, both at this point. But at least the PS3 version will be region free, so you can grab that one.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Okay, so, right, let's jump into... I know Cheesy played the crap out of this game, and it's already out, apparently. Yeah, it is, it's already out, but Dead or Alive 5?
Yes.
Why?
Why? It's a series I've been playing for the last decade, whenever a new entry comes out. I skipped DOA 3 because it was only on Xbox, and I had everything but Xbox.
So it didn't actually make you play it by an Xbox then? No,
I wouldn't call this series a killer app, but it's certainly a game that I don't mind playing when it does come out on a system of my own.
Okay.
So, it's a fairly simple fighter. You've got your strikes, your holds, and your throws, which kind of act like rock, paper, scissors.
Yep.
So a hold will beat a strike will beat a throw, and a throw will beat a hold. Is how it goes.
Right.
So if you're successfully able to read what your opponent is doing, then you should be able to successfully counter whatever they're doing, and then come back with a combination, hitting them back. So, it's a lot of fun. A lot of the presentation is focused on the female characters and the physics involved therein. But I think the graphic attention that this game has received, particularly in terms of how the skin looks, as well as sweat and dirt, is really pretty impressive, along with the shadowing as well. So the characters don't actually look so much like plastic Barbie dolls like they have in previous games. They actually look more human. So it's really encouraging to see better presentation of the characters. The hair looks more impressive than it has previously, as do the materials used in the costumes. All looks like it's making really good progress as time goes on.
Right. That's what I came away impressed by watching the demo, especially watching other people play it, was how pretty the actual game looks. The models is the really high poly models. The skins look great. The lighting was awesome. The animation was beautiful. The jiggling was great. So I was really impressed with it, but it's just not a game that I can get into. It's just not a fighting game I can get into at all. It never has been.
Yeah,
I've never liked the way it played. So
really, I think it's pretty fluid.
Yeah, I know it's fluid, yes, but I don't know. Coming from somebody who plays like a Street Fighter or stuff like that, who's kind of comfortable with that, going to Dead or Alive, I just don't get that feeling.
Do you miss the jumping, or what is it?
Yeah, it could be jumping. I'm not too sure. I think it's because like in like Street Fighter, you've got like projectiles and stuff like that, right? I think I missed that type of stuff. Not just like get up and
kind of over the top moves.
Yeah, it's getting the up close and personal type moves. I'm not really comfortable with.
So you don't like slapping so much. You like jumping over projectiles.
Yeah, I like throwing stuff and yeah.
Oh, okay.
Throwing projectiles, jumping over projectiles and stuff like that. So that's the kind of fighting I like. I guess, yeah, as I just said, up close and personal just isn't my bag.
Yeah, in this game, there's a lot of trying to grab the other character and throw them over your shoulder, or jumping over them and throwing them.
And that's like if you went to the arcades in the 90s and you did that in Street Fighter, you'd be called out for cheaping somebody, and then you'd have to allow them to give you a courtesy throw. Yeah, it's kind of like a different way of thinking.
I remember that.
Nowadays, you can just break throws, so that's not really an issue.
Yeah, until like something like Killer Instinct did combo breakers. That was it was a cheap move that no one allowed in our neck of the woods.
What impressed me, I think, most about this was the environments and how diverse they were. Going from like one platform to another and stuff, and smashing through. I was really impressed with that. That's something that made me go ooh. But again, I think something that's it's starting to annoy me is the pricing.
Yeah, it's a bit pricey. The MSRP in Japan is around 8,000 yen, and you can get it for 7,300.
Yeah, I mean I think
7,000. Anything above 7,000 yen that's a regular edition is like, if you've been playing games all your life, that's just kind of it's a no-no. But suddenly it's gradually becoming okay.
To me, it's not becoming okay. It's pushed me away from games I want to play. It's really hurting me now because I can't. That game, that's my monthly allowance. I can't justify that on one game.
It's like they almost need something lower than regular edition nowadays.
I mean, if you look at the compare it to the US dollar, I mean that price is about 110 US.
Is it really?
7.
I don't know. It's 77 yen to the dollar right now, so it's 73.80 yen divided by 77 yen to the dollar. It's $95.
Okay, $95. But the we're going to talk about it next. Actually, it probably might be a good segue. Is the Yakuza? The recommended price was like 8,800 yen, and that's $115 for a regular game.
Yeah, I think you're giving it the exchange rate with the high yen right now, kind of
still
kind of like tilts it a little bit.
No, but still 8,800 yen for a regular game.
That's like Ni no Kuni level of stupid, right?
That's stupid.
Like, those are prices where, I think the game will suffer for that price tag.
That's just plain ridiculous. I don't care what
I was
anyone
reading
says.
The responses on Nichanaru for the price when the price was announced for Yakuza, and the guy's like, my wallet just died, and he's like got the smiley face next to it. It's like, yeehaw, my wallet just died, because he's probably going to buy it.
Oh man.
Yeah, I mean, I think
the most interesting thing here is that Ryuga Gotoku 5 Yakuza 5 is coming out like 2 days before Wii U. So it's December 2nd. I mean, December 6th is a Thursday, right? So
yeah, that's the Neo Geo X as well, right?
And that as well, which forget that. But
hey,
over brand new games, no. But save that for later. But Wii U, with that coming out, like that's just gonna just vaporize wallets across Japan.
I mean, don't get me wrong, I want to buy it, but for 8,800 yen, I know it's going to be cheaper.
I think you just won't be getting it day one, right? You'll be getting it day 30 or something. I mean, but come on.
Next year.
But come on, if you buy the game and you have at it for a week and you sell it back, what are you going to pay for?
I don't know. I really don't know.
What did you pay for a previous Yakuza games? Like when your buyback?
I couldn't tell you anymore. I can't.
But I mean, considering how poorly the game seems to run, do you want to buy it?
Whoa! What?
Steven, you did say the game was having some issues. You might want to get into that, huh?
Well, I just want to say something. I mean,
that's a gross overstatement.
For the price of the game, I want to buy it, but I don't think a trip to the salon, the Tannen salon for Nagoshi, should be included in the price.
Okay, I think you're totally. That's a cheap argument. That's a way cheap argument.
What, for 8,800?
For the sheer amount of content they're throwing in that game, based on anything you've seen yet in the series, it's almost like there's more content in it now this time than there in like the previous two games combined.
Like what?
It's almost. So
what was it?
First of all, I mean, we're going to be. First of all, if you go to the Sega booth at Tokyo Game Show, because you can play it at Sony or at the Sega booth. And I always go to the main one because they're going to have a little something extra. So Sega, they had a 15-minute movie that you went in and saw. And they always do such a good job at making the movie 15 minutes and completely making your hype level just like go through the roof. Because like they push the heavy drama aspects of it, which to me are the strongest parts about the game.
Yeah.
So they basically like just gave you like the slim Cliff Notes summarization of all the other dramas in the game. So you're having 5 playable characters this time over 5 different cities. So in showing this very rich story, and even though they're advertising, billing these as another dramas, separate stories within a major overarching story, I didn't really know that they were all going to be coming together, as what I learned through watching the movie, is that they're going to, the characters are going to eventually overlap, and they're going to come together into this sort of crescendo moment later on, is kind of what they're hinting at in the game. So first of all, they're currying favor with all the people who are living in these 5 cities. And they're showing there's so much content for each city that's available. They've got like 120 tie-ups with all these different restaurants and whatnot. So it's definitely a rich, I mean, they call it ikitamachi. It's stuff like, they're trying to create like a living city. And, so seeing all that, the visual presentation and how they always do such a good job at the voice acting, I came out like complete, like in this like dizzy, it's like I don't know, Street Fighter Ken like gave me the super combo, and I'm like little birdies around my head. But then they spill out into the demo room, and I played the game, and you had to choose between like, I think was adventure mode, and then you could choose between the 5 different cities. So I chose Nagoya. I was really curious to see the new engine, because they're saying this is the new engine that we're showing off. And so all my hype was sort of tempered, because immediately they threw me into Nagoya, which I know very well. I lived there 12 years, right? Right, Martin?
Sure did.
There now. So I was kind of pumped to see Nagoya, Sakai, they call it Kineicho in Japanese. They're slightly changing the real name of the locations, Kineicho and Sakai, really. But so you're walking around, and immediately what I felt was they've got more people on the sidewalks. So it's like, okay, this is cool. It's more populated. But then I was like walking into them and bumping into them, and it just, collision physics for pedestrians was completely off. And there's like, for example, like in Assassin's Creed or Grand Theft Auto, it felt really good. Like you're just walking around the street and you're sort of interacting with the people you're touching around you. And then there was the pop-ins where the characters are just walking on the street and they're just popping in like 15 feet in front of you. And I was like, oh no, because I know this game is coming out soon, so it's got to be pretty close to in the polish stages, I'm imagining.
Yeah, that's probably not going to change all that much.
It's probably not going to change that much. And then because it was a new engine, I was expecting some just sort of big improvements in that area. But what it's looking like is like the engine was made to support more content rather than make all these technical improvements throughout the game. Another big pet peeve with mine that people of the series who like the series may roll their eyes on is that I don't like the fact that I cannot look around in 360 degrees.
Okay.
Have you played the game? I mean,
I know what you're talking about. Yeah, like you can't look above a certain point.
It feels really weird.
It just, when I'm walking down a city, like a city street, and with the narrow, it creates like a canyon effect with the high buildings. The first thing I want to do is look up, and it just sort of like locks you in, and you can't really look around. But the game's story is fantastic, and I think that will offset anything. The voice acting looks really good. Like for all the hostess clubs now, they've completely voiced them, which is actually these are the types of improvements I like to see when if you're going to have a game that's voiced. More voice work is greatly appreciated for me, because I feel like I'm getting pulled out of the game, pulled out of the game. And for the hostess clubs, they have all the girls for all the different cities are speaking in their dialect. And when you walk around the city, they're bumping into people. Everyone's speaking in Nagoya dialect or the dialect of whatever area. Mehdi, did you play Osaka?
I played it quickly, and Osaka gives you the little girl, right?
Haruka, yeah.
Yeah,
yes, so you're walking in Dotonburi, so it was really interesting because you really recognize the bridge and all of that, and
yeah, you totally feel like I've been here.
Yeah, it feels like that. But when you're playing with her, you don't get to go to the hostess clubs in my do you? So I didn't really get to hear the hostess clubs.
Did
And
they say like, you're not old enough, ma'am? I'm sorry, you have to go home.
The Kansai accent, no. That was your question, right?
What were your impressions? Have you played any of the Yakuza games before?
No, it was I only played, I think, the demo that was on the PSN for the one. Which one was it? 3, I think, or
3 probably, yeah.
So yeah, impression looks the same. Like it's always the same. You're walking in the city, and like some random dude comes to you, and there's a loading screen.
Yeah, the chimpira, the street punks.
Right, and you start fighting him, and it's really, really like violent. The way the end moves when the enemy's like life is low, and you can grab him and finish him.
You can do these heat moves, and
I couldn't watch the screen. Oh, really? So the main character, what's his name? Kazuya, right?
Kazuma Kiryu is one of many. Yeah.
So his end move was he would take the enemy's head and scratch it. Or is that a word? Like
smash it into the floor, right, and scrape it on the floor. Yeah.
Repeatedly, and it's just with the sound of the nose and the bones breaking. I didn't like that. That was my impression. It's like, I don't like this. It's way too realistic.
But that's the conceit of this game. This is Yakuza. Come on.
Then you go back to the game and you walk in this city and like the girl next to me, the booth girl, was like, you can enter any of the stores. You can enter the convenience store.
Well, you can't enter any of them. Basically, you can call up a map and then each one is colored, and you can go to the colored ones, and a lot more of them are colored than before.
You can enter the Don Quixote, the convenience store, the Matsuya, the Starbucks, local Starbucks, this and that. It's like, you can enter, and you can line up with customers, and you can buy tea, like in real life. Like,
wow.
Why don't you do that? It's a game. I don't need to line up at Starbucks to get a latte in a game, and I don't know. I like how they try to...
Well, I mean, Starbucks I can understand, but for someone coming from Nagoya, when I can walk in a Sekai no Yamachan, which is like chicken wings, and I can sit down and order the Tebasaki chicken wings, that is kind of warms my heart just a little bit.
I can understand that, but I think it wears up very quickly. Like I just wanted to go to.
This
next
is where I totally agree with you, and that I feel like some areas they're definitely hurting to like evolve the game a little bit. Like they need almost like some quick time events or something. Like if he's gonna eat like Tebasaki chicken wings, like I don't know, have something where he like
gamify it,
debones the chicken in one pull or something, and then he eats the meat perfectly. Or
that would be amazing.
Well, I mean, it is kind of like a thing at that place. So it's like there's some perfect opportunities to gamify it.
Right.
And that would be appreciated. They do have some those types of things, those types of gaming events for specific cities, which I won't spoil, which look kind of interesting. Like they'll have a snowball fight for Sapporo or something like that.
You can go to arcades, and now you can play real games in the arcades, right? You can play
Virtual Fighter though too. The whole game is in there.
It's amazing how far they went with this, but.
I mean, I watched the live stream when they were doing bowling. I mean, and it's a full bowling game in there. Or they have UFO catcher, and like the physics are so good. You have to line up the side view. You see the side view, and you have to line up the catcher perfectly to grab the penguin. He's got this little red hat on, and then it switches the camera to the front view, and then you lower the catcher, and if you time it just right, but the physics are like it's just bumping perfectly, and you're like, I've almost got it, and then like he half picks it up, and it just like barely falls out, and there's something very unspectacular, very vanilla flavor about it, but in a real way. Like that is what it is in real life, and I can see why Japanese people would be attracted to that.
It seems like a modern day Shenmue.
Yep.
It is very close to that.
Well, yeah, it is.
But the fighting is not as good as Shenmue, let's be honest.
I'm not going to say that. I think the fighting in Yakuza is a step above Shenmue.
Okay.
Well, the fighting is definitely improved. You're definitely getting more hits per second. The transitioning from going into like walking around the street and getting in combat, they said with the new engine is a lot faster.
Almost instantaneous. Almost, but there's still a loading time.
Yeah,
there are for some areas.
Some loading as well, yeah. The water, I'm going to say the water looks awful. The water looks like mercury.
Yes, the water looks so bad. I remember that.
Yeah. Oh no. I know. There's just some areas you're like, really? Yeah. This is it?
Some guy worked out while he was drunk.
This is the new engine?
Yeah, I don't particularly care. I do, but the amounts of content shouldn't reflect on the price, though.
I think I don't know. I would
because there's games out there that
issue with that because like if I get a game and I'm finished with 10 hours, and I can get a long game where I feel like it's not getting stretched out, but there's lots of new content. Then
yeah, but I
appreciate that.
You can get plenty of games like that though for the normal price. You know, like there are plenty of like long games that are 6,000 yen, 6,500 yen, 7,000 yen. What makes this on another level that they can charge nearly 9,000 yen for it, Like,
they probably got some tie-ins with the real Yakuza. I don't know.
Yeah, exactly.
well, judging by the way Nagashi dresses, I wouldn't be surprised.
Yeah. Oh yeah, and I ran into him.
We
ran into him, right?
Thank you.
Yes,
I took
Martin was present. Yes, you did. It was very RPG style. It was very like a game developer got arawareta. I mean, it was very like, there is a Nagoshi has appeared. What do you do? I'm like, just sitting there.
Fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Item.
Well,
shake his
he's
hand.
actually taller than Steven, which made me laugh again. So I was like, wow. But his forehead's huge.
Dude, he's got like this gigantic melon. And in a respectful way.
So yeah.
I mean, I knew a guy who did a commercial in Japan with Tommy Lee Jones, one of the guys we met at TGS, Jacob. You remember Jacob, right?
Oh, yes. Of course.
Yes. And he did a commercial and he said it commented his head was huge as well. So there's all these famous people with big heads. But yeah, his head was large and I did shake his hand and I've shaken a lot of bad Japanese hands in my life and the guy had a firm grip. So I was very Yakuza. I think he's a real deal.
Full body tattoo right under that suit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe just like the inseam is all.
Okay. So after Yakuza 5.
But I do like it and I'm going to be buying it. So
I do want to buy it, but I will not be paying for Nagoshi to go to the talent salon.
That's not where it's going towards.
It is, man.
The cheap
and his whole team as well.
Not going toward that new engine.
Yeah, it's obviously it hasn't gone towards the new engine because I saw a lot of really bad low-res textures, a lot of pop-in, really mercury-looking water. I was like, this is meant to be the new engine? Maybe it may be full of new content, but the engine looks quite crippled in places, and I wasn't particularly impressed.
That's why I keep saying the best ultimate collaboration. You talk about Platinum Games and Kojima. It's GTA, Grand Theft Auto, Greater Tokyo Area, Rockstar Games.
They already said they don't want to do it, though. They don't want to do Japan. Because they don't feel like they know it well enough. Like they don't feel like they could do it justice.
That's what I mean.
That's true.
Collaboration.
Cool. Okay, so we were actually surprised that when we were at TGS, a few companies actually had a Nintendo Wii U.
They sure did.
One of those
companies, that was kind of the biggest surprise of the show, maybe.
One of those companies was Namco Bandai. And one of the games that they showed the Wii U was Tekken Tag Tournament 2 Wii U Edition. So I believe Cheesy played this.
Yeah, I did.
And is this the first time you've held a Wii U? Because it was mine. I'd never seen one before. And I was extremely surprised with the weight of the controller.
Yeah, the controller was actually surprisingly light.
Yeah.
You would think, looking at pictures of it, that it would be a lot heavier, but no, it's like a feather in your hand.
It's lighter than the 3DS.
From what I've heard, it's only because it was wired to the Wii U, and like the wireless version, which is the one that's going to be in the box in the full the final version, has a battery, so it's heavier.
Oh, that makes sense.
That could be. I mean, I don't know if the wire was for power or for just data. It's hard to say. But
also, you didn't steal it.
Yeah, or that. So, I mean, what was really impressive was, like Iwata said, there's no noticeable latency, which, it's hard to give it credit for since it's wired. You don't know if they're just transmitting the visual signal over the wire. So it's hard to give it credit for that just yet, but it is certainly promising. I mean, that screen, looked really, really good.
Yeah, I thought the screen was basically just the XL screen, but it's not. The resolution
looks a lot better.
So much higher.
How much better, Mehdi? How much better?
Oh, it's so much better than the Vita screen. Like, oh man, miles ahead.
Here we go again.
Okay, Mehdi, whatever you say, buddy.
It's not better than the Vita screen.
Let's just say one thing, and I'm sure many people agree with me somewhere.
You mean the people? You mean the people in your apartments? The people in your apartments agree with you, right?
Yeah, sure.
The ones who never
OLED screens have weird colors that I'm not really a fan of. Like, I don't know, I don't know how to explain that, but it's very
colors.
Yeah, it's vibrant, but too much, and it's not natural. It looks fake, and I don't like how it looks. I don't like it. I like LCDs. I like the iPhone screen or regular LCDs because they have really colors that look natural. They don't look fake. So I don't like how the Vita colors look like, or Galaxy phones.
Okay.
So there's that. And the Wii U screen looks really good. It's really high res. How much was it again? 800 by something. It was just under the Vita resolution, so it's not that bad.
No, yeah, it looked really good. I mean, I can see it being, a valuable user interface. And I mean, the whole controller itself was really comfortable. The only thing that really stood out to me, as a worry, maybe, was the distance between the L1 and L2 and the R1 and the R2.
Ah, yes.
Yes.
The twos were kind of stretched.
Yeah, it's I guess you're supposed to use your index fingers for L1 and R1 and then your middle fingers for L2 and R2, but the L2 and R2 are way the heck down on the back of the unit, whereas L1 and R2 are closer to the top. So they're way far separated. I mean, my natural inclination was to put my index fingers on L2 and R2. So when I realized, I've got to reach up and press L1 and R1, it's whoa, so what's going to press the lower ones? Oh, my middle finger? Oh, that was a bit odd. Was it just me?
Surprised, those are impressions from the West. You think Japanese people have smaller hands. I don't know.
I felt exactly the same.
Yeah.
So, Tekken Tag Tournament 2, what did you think?
Yes. The demo that they were showing
was quite hilarious, right?
It was quite hilarious. It was the mushroom mode where they've got all of the super mushrooms and mega mushrooms and poison mushrooms from the Super Mario Brothers series. Mm-hmm. They're in the game stage with all the Tekken characters.
Very disparate elements.
The Tekken characters, they're all kind of dressed up like cosplay.
They're dressed up like Nintendo characters, some of them.
Mario and Luigi, to be specific.
You've got Mario and Luigi and Princess Zelda and Zero Suit Samus and Fox McCloud and Bowser.
Bowser, yes.
And they really don't fit those characters at all.
No, they don't, but it's funny to look at, Ro.
Yeah, I mean, it's
something out of a nightmare. Just
it's a cute gimmick, but I mean,
seeing was a Heihachi with a Mario hat on and a massive mustache in a Mario suit's quite funny. I
mean, are they trying to get the Tekken players to double dip here? I mean,
it's not going to happen. That's not going to happen.
Yeah,
that was fighting games.
Well, I think they just got to give some other kind of other content just to make people think about it, right? Because they just...
I mean, this probably isn't going to sell much because fighting games are all really front-loaded. Because if you don't get in early, then you fall behind. So, I mean, I don't see this selling much at all, honestly.
Well, do we know if this is going to be interoperable with the other versions of Tekken Tag Tournament 2? I can't imagine it would be.
No,
I mean,
don't see why.
That's a good point because of the costumes. In which case, then that's a really huge drawback because then you're really not going to want to buy this version. Because you can't play with any of the tournament players. You can't play with any of the serious players who picked it up day one.
Do we know that for a fact?
I don't. This is the first time I even thought about that as a possibility. The game itself, that's the thing, because it has all those specialized modes, like the gimmicky modes with like the mushrooms and stuff.
You
I don't
can
know.
separate that out. I mean, you don't necessarily have to have that enabled for online play. I don't know. It'd be interesting to find out.
That's a really good question. I don't know. And if it is the case that you can't, then this is just I'm not sure who they're trying to sell this to if that's the case.
But how did you think it played on the controller?
Well, I'm not personally a Tekken player traditionally, so I thought, in comparison to Dead or Alive, it was a lot more stiff. It wasn't very fluid. It didn't have a nice flow to it, in my opinion. So maybe that's just me as a newcomer to Tekken, but that's just the impression that I got from it.
I didn't play the Wii U version, but I do play a little bit of Tekken. And for me personally, those games control much better on an arcade stick. Mm-hmm. Especially any game with an 8-way run just feels better on an arcade stick. So I don't know. Like, I know Mad Catz is putting out a Tekken stick for the Wii U for this game. So I mean, if that's the case, then it's like that there's not really much points playing on the pad. Mm-hmm. Especially if you're like a really serious fighting game player. So this game just kind of confuses me.
So I guess you're not going to pick this one up then.
I'm not, but
yeah, I'm not planning to myself either. It was just nice to get a first impression of the Wii U gamepad.
Yeah,
right. That was probably what I took away from it most was I got to hold the Wii U controller and actually get to see the Wii U running. It looks basically identical to the PS3 version. Mm-hmm. It didn't seem to be any graphical improvement. Quite a few jaggies I noticed. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I didn't actually get to play it. I just got to see other people play it. But I was quite impressed with the moves that people were pulling off on the controller itself. I mean, obviously these people it was the first time for them to play it, and they seem to be able to pull off the moves like straight away. I mean, no messing around. I mean, obviously some of the people who I was watching playing it had played it before, so I was quite surprised the fact that this is a new controller. It's a much bigger controller. It's a bigger environment, but they had no problems pulling off the specials and stuff. So I was quite pleased to see the outcome of this new controller being introduced. So I was quite impressed. But then after Tekken Tag Tournament 2, Steven played another Namco Bandai game. It's an arcade game called Tank Tank Tank.
Yes, we did.
How was it?
It was a fun game, I would say.
You sound so disappointed.
Is this a retail or a download game? Do you know?
It's a retail, I said.
Okay.
Okay, so I don't know that my whole experience was kind of soured. The whole time I'm playing, even standing in line going, I have a choice between Tekken or Tank Tank Tank. I'm just trying to come to terms with that. Like, why are these the two games that I have to play with Wii U? It just, I don't like that fact that it's like going to IMAX, but I have to watch I don't know, the morning news on IMAX for the first time. I want my dream Wii U game on there, and I want to see that they've got this overarching strategy, and these are the games we want Japanese people to be playing for the first time. But it seemed more the people in the West the journalists have already played Wii U, so what else do we want to show them? It's what about all the Japanese press and the people living in Japan who haven't?
If I'm not mistaken, this was the very first time that the Wii U has been playable in public in Japan.
It was, which is why we were all shocked, right?
Yeah, it's
halfway through, we're like, who called it out? Who said Wii U is playable? We didn't even know for halfway through the day, right? On day one, on Wednesday.
I think Cheesemeister tweeted that.
What's that?
I think Cheesemeister tweeted it.
Okay.
And then
that's right.
You gotta run there.
We ran all the way down. We're like, it's time for lunch, but let's get some Wii U in. And then we ran down there and got in line. And Martin was going to film it, so I had gone up to the reception girl. I'm like, can we film this? She says yes. So I get in line. Then there's a guy waiting there to usher us towards the games. And I ask him again, we're going to film this. And I have to give him a whole spiel. And I give him the whole spiel, and then he runs off to another suit in charge, and he gives him the whole spiel. Every time each person comes over, and we had to tell them, explain to them why we're filming this. It just blew my mind that once again there's no strategy and everybody's confused and decentralized. But we did get to play it, and it was fun. Like I was given the gamepad, and then the booth babe girl, this cute little thing. She was going to play on the large screen, and before you start the game, you pick your like a theme that you want to overlay over your face. So I picked a pirate. You get like a little pirate eye patch and all that stuff, and it was funny. And these are the faces that appear above your little guy, like an avatar. And you're flying around the map. And then she picked like this like bald it was like some old bald salaryman type of guy, Martin, or was it just some old Japanese guy?
Yeah, it's like an old Japanese like hair. You know the one where you just there's no hair in the middle; it's just on the sides.
Yeah,
I can't remember what it is, but yeah, but she pulled a funny face and
she pulled like this like face with her mouth open. It was hilarious. Like you could tell this was the face made for her, and so I got a good laugh from that. But when you played the game, even though we were playing together, I'm used to playing side by side. So you're sharing a screen together. With this, I was concentrated on the gamepad. So even though we were playing together, I didn't really feel like we were playing together unless I saw her avatar like running around. I was kind of disconnected, even though she was like right by my side. So I don't know if I really would like to play with people as much as I would enjoy maybe a shared on-screen experience.
Is this because like she was playing on the TV and you were playing on the?
Yes, that's exactly what I'm getting at.
So you saying that there's a disconnect there?
There's a disconnect there. I felt.
Oh, you felt.
It's because in the beginning I was like we were laughing, but then during the game she was doing her thing, I was doing my thing, and then when it ended, like our scores came up, and like she did better than I was. She's been playing all day. I did dead last. My defenses was going for the ammunition when I was rather than trying to kill the guy as I should have been. But yeah, you go around with these tanks, and you can have like a rival team that you go against, or you can all do like a cooperative mode. And yeah, you're just running around the map frantically trying to get this ammo, and then like this huge like giga like monster comes out of the water and just is like laying down the law on you, and you're just running around getting thrashed. And I don't know, it was like one of those throwaway games. It's like whatever.
Mm.
Yeah, this was my first experience with Wii U, and I'll never forget it ever.
Well, the thing is I asked him, I mean, is this going to be online? And he said that not for launch, but they said the team are working on possibly getting it online.
What?
So yeah, because I said this would be a great game for an online game. I mean, it would be fun. I mean, how many people are going to be at home and going to be able to play like 4-player at home? You know, and he said, well, yeah. So I said, what about like online? And he said, yeah, his team are working on it. So it might come in the future. So it's interesting. I don't know. I'd like to see it online. Because, I mean, it's a fun game. I mean, right. At the end of the day, it's pretty fun. Like a lot of people all driving around, blowing stuff up together, right? And especially with the way it looks, it's very simple, basic looking.
Yeah, I like simple controls, simple action controls. I mean, Harmo Knights, we talked about how simple that game was and how fun it was. And I don't want to always play a hard game. Because combat right now too complex. I'd rather sit down and play Harmo Knights.
There's a mode in the game where it's like a big gorilla, and you take a photograph of it, and your face gets mapped onto the face of the gorilla, and then you're
the main bad guy you're talking about.
Sorry.
Are you talking about the main bad guy?
Yeah, the big gorilla thing, right?
Yeah.
So you're controlling the gorilla, and the other people with like the Wiimotes or whatever, they're controlling the tanks.
Mm-hmm.
So like you're trying to destroy the tanks, and the tanks are trying to destroy you.
Right.
So it's a good, like, funny.
And she was using the steering wheel controls.
Yeah, she was using the steering wheel as well, right? So
yeah.
So I mean, I quite enjoyed like watching you and other people play it. It looked fun, but I would have more fun if it was actually an online game and not a couch co-op.
And not a full price game, maybe?
And not a full price game as well.
And what kind of range? Remind me, what kind of range can you get on the gamepad?
About 30 feet or so.
Oh, I can just imagine like the younger brother upstairs playing in the bedroom, and he's like, "I owned you," and you can hear him echoing downstairs.
Well, hopefully you don't have thick walls.
Right. Anyway,
it's funny, interesting different type of gameplay.
Right. Okay. Speaking of online, Phantasy Star Online 2 on the Vita.
Phantasy Star. So I played. Who else played this for the Vita?
I did.
Oh,
okay.
There's two of us.
I think I played it too.
I played this for the Vita. As you all know, we've talked about this before, but I played a lot of it on the PC. And it is the exact same game, much to my surprise for some reason. But it really is just the entire PC game on the Vita for free, only with like touchscreen controls and analog controls built in. So it's pretty much the same UI as well. In terms of where things are on the screen. Like you have the bottom row of icons that are your items and your abilities. Because the Vita has a touch screen, you can actually just touch the icons to do the actions instead of using a cursor, which in some ways is actually a little bit easier. It gets a little awkward sometimes because the icons are a little bit small, but for the most part, it's actually pretty quick and painless.
Because the icons are at the bottom of the screen, right? The majority of them at the bottom of the screen.
Yeah. They're generally easy to touch, but sometimes you'll miss just because you're in the middle of an action and you'll want to get a healing item and you'll, accidentally touch a little bit off of the icon and you won't hit it correctly. But I mean, for the most part, it's a nice appropriation of the mouse controls. The game was already pretty fast and shooter-like to begin with. So in my case, I was playing as a gunner, as a hunter, or ranger, I mean. So I was using guns. And the controls work perfectly for that. I didn't use a close range character, so I can't really talk about how that would have controlled. But in my case, it was very easy. It was very, intuitive. It felt like playing the PC game only with a controller, and it looks great too.
I couldn't believe how smooth it was. I mean, I was blown away with how smooth it was, considering the amount of like characters and the environment that the player was in, and like the visual effects on the screen. And I was kind of blown away. It was like, this is like the PC version, and it's just going, it's just working, it's
just, it is what it is. There it is.
Yeah, it's just. I was like, wow. So I mean,
did you play with other people? Because I was playing with 3 other people online, and it was smooth as butter for the most part. There was one point where the frame rate took a drop when we were fighting one of the bosses, but for the most part, it was very stable the whole way through.
Yeah, no, it was totally stable. One time it did drop, I don't know, maybe to 20, but it was noticeable. But and that happened about 3 seconds, and then it went boom straight back again.
Yeah.
So I mean, it didn't really affect anything because I just stood off and let it get back up to speed. But I was really surprised, and I was with the UI.
Mm-hmm.
I was really surprised that I could hold the Vita and just hit the menu buttons with my thumb, not really taking my fingers off the analog sticks or anything.
Yeah,
just using my thumb to hit the menu buttons, and it was just there. It was just compact. It was in your hand, and I was like, wow.
This is Phantasy Star Online too.
Yeah,
in your hands.
It is, and as you said, it's free. So Sega have pulled some magic out of the hat with this one.
And just to point out too, Phantasy Star Online 2 had a huge presence at TGS. They had a very big booth at Sega, so they were pushing that a lot.
Yes, they did.
When is it coming out?
Vita version is next year, early next year.
Okay.
Yeah, very surprised.
And are you free? I mean, come on.
No, exactly, yeah. And it's a great game, as we've talked about before, so...
Will you be able to download that You'll be able to download that, or?
Yeah, you download it onto your Vita.
That's awesome.
It's completely free. Yeah, it's just like the PC version.
What's the catch?
There's some in-game purchases, but nothing particularly like game breaking.
Okay.
Right. Okay. So yeah, let's move on to Biohazard 6.
Yes, which is actually already out in some places in the world.
Yes.
Yeah. Like some stores were just like, whatever, let's put it on sale.
So the demo at TGS, what was it? Because I didn't actually get a chance to see it.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, we all lined up together.
Oh, you did?
We did. There were different demos.
4 demos for the 4 campaigns in the final game.
Yes.
First one is Leon, and what's her name?
I played Ada.
Helena.
Right. And the second one is Chris, which plays like a very bad Gears of War clone.
Yes.
Like really, it's just a cover-based shooter and doesn't play really well.
And then the last one was Jake and Sherry, which is the one I played with CVX Freak. And that one played pretty well.
And there's a fourth one, which is Ada Wong.
Yeah, Ada Wong. It's
Ada Wong. That was a single player, and that's the one I played. You guys all played multiplayer.
Yeah. The demo I played, it was fun. I mean, it was kind of a mix between Leon's like slower pace action and Chris's Gears of War action. Controls felt a little bit floaty. I mean, people have played the demo, so they know how this game plays by now. But yeah, I don't know. I wasn't on the fence about the game, but I was always planning on buying it because I'm a Resident Evil fan. After playing the demo, it didn't really sell me either way. I'm still kind of just like, oh, okay, I hope it's good. You know, I had fun, but something's missing. I don't know what it is.
Did you play it on the Sony booth or the Capcom booth? Because the Capcom booth looked awesome. It's like it was decked out like it was downtown Chinatown or Hong Kong.
It was like Hong Kong, yeah.
It was Hong Kong, yeah. I mean, every Capcom booth had its own theme.
The Capcom booths were really nice.
Yeah,
they've always done a very nice job. Yeah.
Yeah, so I was pretty impressed with the booths. But yeah, I didn't get a chance to see the game. I think I didn't want to look at the game because I was thinking of the game's out in a week or 2 weeks or whatever.
Yeah,
so I had very, very little interest in actually going to watch it because I was thinking, oh, well, it's out in 2 weeks, so what's the point?
I mean, having played the demo, I'm just kind of like, yeah, okay. Like, this is kind of what I expected. It's coming out in a week. Not really... Like, I only really lined up to play it because a bunch of other people were at the time. But,
right.
Like, otherwise, yeah, you know.
I think it's because of CVX Freaks, the world's biggest fan, and
he just gets you hyped up. Come play Resident Evil, let's go.
He's like, okay, you're going to be playing this character because this is the new one at TGS. It's like, okay.
It's like,
whatever you say, master.
Whatever you say, man. I am here to do your bidding. But yeah, you know, it's Resident Evil 6.
It kind of sealed my deal for like, well, I paid this, now I'm not going to spend the money for the full game.
You're not going to grab it?
Nah.
Yeah, a friend of mine wants to play it co-op together, so we're gonna go in halvesies on it, I think.
That's all good. If you can find someone to go halves with it, that's not too bad.
Yeah, because we were both planning on playing it anyway, so we figured, you know, why don't we just split it?
Yeah, why not? Why not? Okay, cool. So Square-Enix, there was no actual playable games, right?
No playable games. They showed off Dragon Quest X Wii U, which looks much sharper. Not really improved visually so much as they've like finally made it look like up to par with its art style. So that's cool. They announced Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5, which is the original Kingdom Hearts HD version, and Kingdom Hearts Re-Chain of Memories, which is the PlayStation 2 remake of the Game Boy Advance game, and that's also going to be in HD. And then in that package as well are all of the cutscenes from the DS game in HD, but they're also reanimating a bunch of cutscenes as well so that it can tell a complete story. So it's almost a little bit like a CG movie, so that you don't have to play the game to get that story. And that's coming out next year, mid-next year, I want to say. And they also had a new Bravely Default trailer, but again, that's another game that's coming out in a couple of weeks, so it's not really worth talking about since it's right around the corner.
Right. Okie dokie. Okay, so that seems to be about everything we kind of played.
Yeah.
Game-wise, yeah.
Game-wise, yeah. I didn't play as much as I wanted to play, mainly because I was working.
You were recording, yeah.
I was busy recording stuff, and yeah, I was quite surprised how much stuff I actually got recorded, and surprised of how much stuff I didn't get to play that I wanted to play.
Make sure you go check out his work on the YouTube account.
Yeah, well, saying that though, Ubisoft?
Yeah.
They put a strike against us.
Was that Ubisoft proper?
For Assassin's Creed?
Wow.
Apparently, they took it off for copyright infringement, and I'm like, hang on, I had
permission.
I had permission as.
This is another strike against him. No central authority with any this is the rule. As long as everybody follows it, everything's cool. Maybe they need something that says don't put on YouTube or something.
Well, I had press privileges, and I wouldn't be there if I wasn't part of the press, right? Yeah. So I'm filming, and then it's on the YouTube account, and then it gets pulled. So I'm kind of angry with them. So I'm never buying anything from Ubisoft again. It's just, right. I mean, I've sent emails to all of their PR and stuff, and not one response from any of their PR people on Twitter. Nothing. So yeah, forget anything that they bring. So forget them. Anyways,
I did get a chance to, and just segue off of that, talk about Ubisoft. I did get a chance to try out the new HMZ personal 3D viewer.
Yes,
and that was demoing Assassin's Creed 3. But more than that, I just wanted to talk about the unit. They are with a new model. It's coming out mid-October. This expensive still, $700. So it's about 70,000 yen.
That's the HMZ T2?
Yes.
This is the second model that's coming out. They did show a prototype of the head tracking one that I didn't get to try at the show.
What's different in this model?
So what's different specifically in this model is that it's 20% lighter than the first one. And normally that would be like a yawner. But actually, having tested the first one out just before it rolled out, unless I was reclined back, if I was just standing up straight, it felt like it wasn't a full around snug fit. It felt like it was coming heavy on the bridge of the nose, and it started to just hurt after a while. So because they made it lighter, that proved that. And they also have this new head, head adjustment, right up in the front. And it's got this pad that you can adjust, and it really makes everything feel really tight. And I was surprised that I could even use it wearing glasses. At first I was like, I'm just going to have to take these off, right? She's like, no, you can put those in and we'll just adjust that at the front. So if you got a big Frankenstein head or you wear glasses, you're good to go. Herman Munster, you could wear these things. And actually, they say this time, they wanted to, like the previous model, they want to simulate, if you're new to this, they're trying to simulate, they're glasses that basically simulate you sitting in a movie theater, sitting 20 meters from the screen of a 750-inch movie screen. And it really pulls it off. I mean, having played the naval battle in Assassin's Creed 3, which I was really excited about, it was very immersive. For the purposes of the demo, they figured there was a lot of journalist noobs who don't know how to play games there, so they kept the light shields off, which actually would cover any light from getting in below your eyes, because they wanted you to be able to actually see the controller in your hand. You didn't know where the buttons were or something like that. Which kind of bothered me, because all this light is coming in. You have this very cinematic, you're rolling up on these stormy waves and shooting these ships, and all this light is coming in. So I gotta say, they're almost there. I mean, I haven't seen stuff like this at the Consumer Electronics Show since way back in the 90s. Mm-hmm. And I'd say they're just about. If I didn't know that head tracking was coming out on the horizon, I'd almost just recommend this. If you have extra money to burn, I would recommend it. It's pretty amazing.
Because the first one, the headphones were kind of built into the unit, right?
That's right. That's another good point.
And the second unit, the headphones are not actually built into it anymore.
Well, they have these inner ear headphones that come with it, but they're only optional. You can actually use any type of headphones that you want to use. And they had these just eggs that you put over your head, and that which is the type of that I prefer. I don't know what you call them in English. They call them egg headphones in Japanese.
Cans, right? Big cans. What?
Cans, you call them?
I don't know.
Over the ear, basically.
Yeah, I mean, the thing was, though, that you could wear this headset and have any kind of headphones on as well. So, I mean, whatever kind of
awesome.
Yeah, whatever kind of headphones you already like to use, you can use with this device as well, which is cool. You're not forced to use the crappy ones that they put on the original one, which were really awful. But yeah, you can use your own, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, and that stand was pretty popular. It was always full.
Well, I was going over just to play. I thought I was playing on a PlayStation 3, and they're like, "No, here it is." I'm like, "Awesome!" I was like, and Martin's with his camera looking at me like, "You bastard! I can't film this."
Yeah.
You
No, because I asked Steven to go play Assassin's Creed on a Vita because I wanted him to play because the Vita was against the wall. You know, so the only way I could actually film somebody was if I knew the person who was playing it, so I could kind of stand like right on top of them. Basically, it was the only way you could get the footage. So I asked Steven to go play Assassin's Creed, and for some reason he went to the PS3 line for the headset, and I was like,
it was a blessing in disguise.
I was like, dude, I can't film that. What are you doing? And he was like, oh, dope. Yeah, and I was like, cheers.
And dough, and then woohoo!
Yeah.
That's exactly what I wanted. That was actually like, and all you guys were like, you bastard. You played it on that? Yeah, that was one of the things I just wanted to do. So, because having gone to Ginza to play it at the Sony shop. Yeah, on my crutches way back in the day when I broke my foot. So
well, actually, I went to the Sony store last week to pick up my my Bluetooth headset that I put through the washing machine and washed it, but I took it back to the store anyway and said it's broke, doesn't work, and they gave me a new one. But anyway, I went to pick it up.
You're going to be that guy that they're going to be creating new rules.
Yeah, exactly.
Once you abuse it and go too far.
Yeah, anyway, they gave it, but when I went to go pick it up, this was like over a week ago now, they had the same headset that was at TGS in the store, demoing to people in the store, which was pretty cool. Anyways,
so no one tried the head tracking then, I take it?
No, that was just a prototype, so that was just a TGS.
Behind closed doors one.
Yeah. Anyways, so Steven, you walked around TGS with your 3DS in your hand?
That was a day one.
You were a monster.
So did I.
Oh, so yes, so did Cheesy. Both walked around TGS with
for 4 days. You had a rocking, didn't you?
Me?
After the show, when we were going around Akihabara, you had it the whole time as well.
Oh yeah, of course.
Right.
Yeah,
right. Go ahead.
The 2 days of TGS, I got a grand total of 232 street passes.
Damn. Someone's been busy.
Sulking that, everyone from the West. The whole listenership wouldn't get that many.
I got somewhere around, I want to say, like 180 some odd street passes. I didn't have it with me all the time, so.
Yeah.
But
I was kind of obsessed the first day. Usually I'm not like into this stuff, but I wanted to get the 100 in a day.
That's hard to get.
It was hard to get, yo.
Yeah.
He was a monster, ladies and gentlemen. This guy was standing up and wandering around specifically with the goal of getting street passes.
So, yeah, in addition to, like, waiting in line, because everybody had them, actually, so I was like, I got to take mine out again and check, because, you'd get your 10, then you got to refresh it.
If you forget about it, then you're losing out.
Yeah, I know I lost out at probably about 50, because I just was sitting there doing something else, but...
Right.
So towards the end of the Wednesday, we started wrapping up, and I was around 70. And I'm like, oh, man, I still have 30 to go. So there's, if you've ever been to Tokyo Game Show, there's this front entrance. Well, actually, there are two entrances. There's the main hall entrance, and then there's like the exit where all like the booth babe chicks and all the people who are working there start spilling out of. And then there's like this courtyard with all these tables. And so I was basically, after everyone was chilling on the chairs, I got up and was just like running over to the area where they're all filing out.
Just walking around.
I was walking around like a madman. I don't know, what did I look like? I don't know.
Like, we're all just sitting at the table. It's me, Cheesy, Johnny the Future is there. Martin, I think you were there already. And we're just watching Steven just walk around with his 3DS.
He was like a stalker.
Like doing loops around people, trying to collect them. It was the most surreal thing I saw over the course of TGS by far.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, it was funny because when all the booth babe chicks started filing out,
You would street pass them.
I street passed them, right? And so, like, I'm looking at my me army, like, without a doubt, like, these, you can just tell by the me characters, these are hot chicks. Like, there's like 3 of them together, and I'm like,
with like the heavy makeup and like, yeah, it's just really obvious.
Did you get the 5 females in a row achievement?
no, did they have that?
Yeah.
Are you serious?
Oh, Japan.
Oh,
It's a
I would
thing.
have known they had that. I would have sat there a little longer, but I got 3 in a row.
Oh, okay, well, that's a start.
Oh, man.
You gotta go back to TGS again, right?
I did learn that the range is probably about 20 feet is what it takes to... by the end of the 30 minutes, I had perfectly learned how to sweep the area.
Yeah.
And, like, just kind of, like, net in all the people in, like, a 40-foot diameter by just walking around in, like, this S.
So you got your 100.
I got 100 in a day.
100 in a day. You got that while on a train.
Well, just before getting on the train.
Was it before you got on a train? Because I took the picture on the train.
Yeah, you took the picture on the train.
Oh, okay.
You're on our way to Otaru, which I probably would have netted in a bunch of other street passes there, because that was the big party for all the news people.
Right, yeah. So you got your 100 street passes, so congratulations on that.
And I put that thing to bed, and I'm not touching it for a while. but Cheesy, what did you get? Did you get anything special? Any things that you didn't already get?
Oh, yeah. In Akihabara, the day after the business days of TGS.
The Saturday.
The Saturday. We were in Super Potato, and I got a street pass with someone from Yamagata Prefecture, which was
last piece of the puzzle.
It was the last piece of the puzzle for all of the prefectures in Japan.
Huzzah!
So what did it do?
So I got an achievement for that, saying that I had conquered all of the areas in my own country. And when I went into the map to look at the map of Japan with the newly highlighted prefecture, there was ticker tape streaming down the screen like confetti. It was pretty neat. And my me character was all like smiling in the corner of the screen, so it was kind of cute.
Huh. Excellent. I wish he had like one of those travel suitcases with all the stamps and stickers on there of all the different places he went to. I had a a red me character. What was that? He like appeared on my screen when I got 100.
A red me character?
It was just like wearing a red outfit. What was that all about?
I don't know. Maybe that was just a regular me character who happened to be your 100th.
Oh, okay.
Don't.
Yeah, if they were wearing gold pants, that would be something else.
Is that the official Nintendo color?
Yeah, those are the official Miis that are specially set up for certain events. And there's an achievement for getting 10 of those, but I don't know if that'll ever be possible.
Okay, so I want to know, Steven, your game of TGS, please.
Oh my God! Can't you go first? Let me think.
My game was it's a toss up between Soul Sacrifice and Rising. So, Elliot, what was your game of show?
Man, I loved Rising. I already knew I was going to love Rising, so that wasn't really a surprise. I think my game of the show was a toss up between Soul Sacrifice and the 3DS version of X Troopers.
Damn. Oh, so 2 handheld games there, huh?
Yeah.
Nice. Mehdi, what was your game of the show? Metal Gear Rising. Cheesy.
Am I allowed to say Project Diva F?
What?
Well, you did get some Project Diva F on in the hotel room. That was pretty
right,
cool.
and there was some DLC announced, so there's that at least.
Sure.
That game's already out. Come on.
Okay, Rising.
Okay. Cheesy.
DOA 5.
Really?
That game's already out.
It came out after TGS, and I got it first thing.
Okay.
Okay, Steven?
Okay, the game that required the least coaxing, the game I wanted to play myself more than anything, Soul Sacrifice. And the game, I have to say, there's still a lot of stuff that's a question, and I'm really intrigued.
Okay, cool. I want to say that a lot of people were really have been really negative about TGS. But if you like Japanese games, I don't think TGS is negative at all.
I think this year, this was my first year, but just as terms of the lineup alone, there were a lot of games to play.
Yeah,
and there were even a lot of games I never even got around to that I still wanted to play.
Right, exactly. So I mean, if you like Japanese games, there's no issue of not enough content coming out to Japan. There's a lot of good games, and there's a lot of games coming out which I'm not going to be able to afford to buy, and I want to buy, but yeah, there's a whole bunch of stuff. So when you see people talk about, oh, TGS is crap and it's boring and there's no games, no, there's plenty of games. There's a lot of games if you like Japanese games. If you don't like Japanese games and you play, and you play Western games, there's no games here for you. This is not the show for you. So if you like Japanese games, TGS was great. It had a lot of quality games, and as you said, 2 days wasn't enough to cover the amount of games that we wanted to play.
And that's the criteria that I used to determine whether it was a success or not. Because for me, with Microsoft Game Studios gone, and still I played games nonstop for 2 days, and I still hadn't hit everything. To me, that's a sign of a success for TGS. And this is with Gree, Mobage, and Gloops.
Gloops,
still don't
whatever
know
the hell
about
they are.
The total enigma that I didn't even waste any time trying to unravel.
Not a single person did.
All those encroaching types of things that have nothing to do with core gaming that I recognize. I'd say it was a total success.
Yep, definitely. There may not have been that one super massive game for Westerners that just brings all the attention, but there were so many middle tier games, not AAA games, but just mid tier games and really interesting smaller titles that I don't know. I feel like the future is looking pretty decent for Japan. I'm not so concerned, and also, and this isn't about the sales either, because that's a different argument entirely. But in terms of the Vita, there was a really strong showing of Vita titles.
That's what I wish I had more time to play.
There was a lot of Vita games, a lot of good stuff down the line, a lot of good stuff coming out soon. Whether that's enough to actually sell the system, whether those are system sellers to the mainstream is another story entirely. But as a Vita owner personally, I'm pretty excited with some of the stuff on the way. And I mean, right now I've been sinking my teeth into East. So I mean, there was a lot of really solid games across the board for all the systems. So I'd say it was a pretty good TGS on the whole.
Yeah, me too. Totally. I totally agree with you. Cheesy, anything to say about that?
No, yeah, I really enjoyed the show. I mean, there are certainly more interesting games than there have been in previous years. There wasn't really any particular standout title for me, though a lot of people would probably point to Monster Hunter 4 Soul Sacrifice. But for me, it was a pretty even spread that showed a lot of promise for Japanese gaming going forward here.
Yep, I totally agree. So, listening to
what about the biggest disappointment, though?
Mm-hmm.
Last Guardian. I mean,
yeah.
We're all just Last Guardian. That's a game.
Yeah, but that was a given, though, right?
Square-Enix.
That would have been the one game that would have made everybody do a collective sigh.
Oh yeah, totally. But I don't think anybody was. Everybody was kind of hoping that there would be one more thing.
Not expecting it, but
no one expected it. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, I think Square-Enix had a pretty poor showing overall. I mean, with no playable games, it's what's even coming out next from those guys? Bravely Default has had a ton of demos already on the 3DS eShop, so I guess there was diminished need to actually show the game off at TGS.
And that's definitely their next big game.
Yeah, and isn't that their only game for the fall?
The fall? Yes, I think so.
Yeah, because after that, all they've got is Final Fantasy XIV version 2.0, and then Versus 13, which it might as well be dead at this point.
For the time being, at least, yeah.
It's been 7 years. I mean, they've basically got all hands on deck for Final Fantasy 14, it seems, right now. So,
right now, that's their main focus.
Yeah, I would not expect Final Fantasy 15 to be renamed as such until E3 next year, at least.
Exactly, yeah. And, I mean, they're still focusing on Dragon Quest X, which is a big thing for them right now. So, I mean, they have stuff that's bringing in money. So, I mean, they didn't have much of a showing at all at TGS, but in some ways, they sort of didn't have to.
You'd think that they would have had Final Fantasy 14 playable, though.
I think they might have behind closed doors. I think they might have showed some stuff off for it, but...
I mean, you're trying to get people to believe in resurrecting this game, and yet...
Well, the thing is, though, they showed it off a lot. Like, even...
They had a trailer. They had a trailer.
I mean, not at TGS, but in general, like, over the past, 6 months, it's been non-stop Final Fantasy 14, press. In all the magazines, all of the Western events as well, like PAX and stuff. They've been pushing that game a lot.
So why don't you bring it to TGS? That makes no sense at all to
me. I have no idea, but they didn't bring anything to TGS. So, I mean, they didn't even bring Dragon Quest X Wii U to TGS.
Well, they had a stage presentation.
Yeah, but I mean, that's...
Yeah, you'd think that would be playable, too.
So, I mean, they had nothing playable. So, I guess they were just... I don't know what they were focusing on, but... TGS was clearly not a concern for them this year.
Yeah, cool. That was disappointing.
Also, if they just announced, I know it's only been a year, but if they announced a sequel to Gravity Days, that would have...
They got close. They got close.
Actually, the director of the game, Keiichiro Toyama,
all but hinted.
He hinted very strongly at a sequel to the game because the game itself, Gravity Days, actually won best game at the awards show at TGS.
Yay!
That wasn't the Medi Awards. That was TGS.
That was TGS. And
MEHDI, by the way, not MEHDI.
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to say, what, Medi's giving out awards?
I'm so confused right now.
I was so confused. What?
So basically, in all of the congratulatory messages that Toyama was receiving, everyone was asking, "Oh, we hope there's a sequel. We hope there's a sequel." And he basically replied saying, "Oh, I'm working hard on it." And everyone's like, "Really? You're making a sequel? Great!" And people are all jumping to conclusions. And it got a bit carried away, and he later clarified saying, "Yeah, I'm working hard so that there can be a sequel. Right now, he's basically trying to put together a team that would be able to deliver a worthy sequel. So it's really just at the starting point right now."
Where his initial, the players.
His initial tweet was that essentially in Japanese, he used the characters for his next game project. His first tweet. And people kind of jumped to conclusions there. But then in his next tweet, when we replied to somebody, he used the specific kanji characters for continuation or part 2.
Yeah, jikai ni mukete ganbarimasu, which means I'll work hard, for the next big thing.
And then the next tweet was the Zokuhen, as in
the sequel.
Yeah. So just to clarify, the first tweet
that completely fanned the flames. Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to a follow-up to Gravity Days whenever it materializes. If it's just early days of, concepting and forming a team, then I can understand if it's going to be a while. But
yeah,
I cannot wait.
And then
for that game.
We did already create a working title for it as Gravity Knights, didn't we?
Yeah. That was
we did it, Adam.
Martin's idea, actually.
That was all Martin.
It's kind of obvious, though, right?
Yeah. Gravity Days, Gravity Nights. I can see that.
Gravity Brunch.
Ooh, now I
yuck.
No.
No.
Okay, guys, I think we should get into tweets and emails.
The guys who tweeted, you should call it Gravity Yade, because that's the Kansai Ben version of Gravity Daze in Japanese. Which was okay. Now we're going to have to explain all of that.
Oh,
okay, ask me on Twitter if you want to know.
I think we should just go into tweets and emails.
Twitter. Yeah, let's do
Yes,
this.
the power of the Twitter.
So, Crackalackin
Crunch on Twitter.
Z, as always, food question. He asks, what type of food kept you alive during the show?
Oh, this is easy.
Yes.
This is a question for Martin, I think.
Yeah, I didn't eat anything. Day one, I had nothing to eat until like 2 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, no.
Oh.
Right? When we went to a
Yes.
place that smelled like dead hiney.
Oh, right.
It did. That was the official smell. It was funny because this was the first year where we had perfect connectivity thanks to the Line application. In prior years, we would get like not tweets, but we would get like messages like 30 minutes later.
Mm-hmm.
But it was Martin just like, where are you guys? I'm filming this. I haven't eaten yet. I'm starving. Goodbye.
We were connected.
Yeah, we were connected, but yeah, Martin was not connected to the food. My answer is definitely Domino's Pizza.
Yep, same pizza.
You can take solace if you're there. You go all the way down. We went all the way down by the Gloops and down by the merchandise area.
Oops.
Past the Gloops to the merchandise area, and then there, just beyond that, is the food court. And it's a pretty good food court.
Yeah.
And they have rip-off Domino's Pizza, $6 a slice, but it is Domino's.
It's pizza. I'll take it.
Okay.
Yeah, I had Domino's only on day 2. On day 1, I had, what was it? Some sort of donburi. I think it was oyakodon.
You did? Oh, really? I didn't know they had that.
Yeah, Friday I had curry.
Curry, me too.
Yeah, I had a curry on the Friday. On the Friday, I had a curry. Curry was good. Some old lady katsudo. No, sorry.
No,
yeah, katsukari.
Dirty katsukari. That's snowboard.
No, it was fresh because she had to make it. She said, "Come back in 3 minutes. I need to like."
Let me peel it off the bottom.
No, it was fresh and it was beautiful. It was good. So yeah, that was mine, katsukari, on Friday. But the Thursday, I ate nothing until like 2 a.m. So yeah, nothing. Right, who wants to take the next one?
I'll take it. We sort of already answered this, but the JRPG Club asks, are you most looking forward to Gyakuten Saiban 5, Layton versus...
Which is Ace Attorney?
Yes, Ace Attorney 5, or the new Layton game. As I talked about, Ace Attorney 5 is easily on the top of all that. I'm going to buy Layton versus Phoenix Wright because I want more Phoenix Wright before Ace Attorney 5 comes out. But... yeah, and then although the next game will be the last one for Layton himself, do you see him coming back a la Phoenix Wright? Well, I mean, the first trilogy ended the exact same way. They were like, it's Layton's last adventure. So this is the second time they're doing
First
this.
of the last adventure.
Exactly. So, I mean,
You thought it was the end? It's really just the beginning of the end.
Beginning of the end.
Whereas with Phoenix Wright, they never said it was his last game necessarily, so...
Okie dokie. Next question then. Who wants to take the next one?
I will.
Okay.
Master Assassin 79 asks, what is your favorite kind of sushi?
Oh, this is a hard one.
Fresh kind.
Yeah, well.
Anything down by Tsukiji, the fish market in Tokyo. We took Meditu.
We went to the other day, right? Go ahead.
I'm going to have to agree and say Inari Sushi.
Yep.
What?
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
It's like the cheap sushi, but it's really good. But
Yeah.
Cheap taste buds, all of you.
Yeah, no. I just say it's not. It's good. It's full. It fills your belly, but
it's sweet and tasty.
It's what I get at the end when I just want to be sure that I'm full when I leave the restaurant.
It's not quality at all.
It's so good.
You've clearly never had quality in any sushi.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
come on.
but no,
We're talking about different types of
what's
sushi,
your-
Maguro.
Yeah, I was going to say.
That's a classic.
That's
Can't even compare Inari to Maguro.
Mine's hamburger.
Oh, God. Okay, I think we have someone to direct our rage at.
There you go.
Now we have the new monster.
Exactly.
For those of you playing along at home, Inari Sushi is rice stuffed into a fried tofu packet.
Packet, which is edible.
And it's edible. And it's kind of coated with vinegar, and it's sweet and it tastes really good.
Yeah.
It's something around when you've eaten everything else and you're still hungry and you don't know what else to do.
No. But more so than that, let's all just get mad at the hamburger sushi comment.
Actually, I like hamburgers, so.
Yeah.
I did too, but still.
Maguro sushi, by the way, is tuna.
Tuna,
Yes.
yeah. I was going to say either that one or the egg.
Tamago, yes.
You're
The
killing
fried egg is awesome.
Yeah, there you go. Thank you very
fried egg is
much.
good. That's true. Yeah.
The fried egg over rice.
Sounds like
Sushi.
real
Some like
sushi.
foreigners.
Hotate is damn good.
But that
What?
is good. Yeah.
Hotate is one of the,
Hotate scallop is freaking
Hotate.
bomb.
it's so good.
I like abra ebi.
What?
Uh-huh.
Yeah, Borabe is fine. You got to start out light and you work your way heavy.
Ebi.
There's an order to this whole thing.
You work your way ebi.
Yeah.
That's
Start with
wrong.
your shinies and then you work your way to the heavy fatties.
That's wrong. Anyways,
Onward.
onwards. Okay, who wants to answer? Take the next one. Was it Drizzle Lips? He says, "How badass is Soul Sacrifice?
Yes.
A PS Vita must-have."
At this
Yes.
point, yeah.
We answered that within the podcast.
Yes, I know, but we just want to answer this question anyway.
Yeah, it was cool. It was fun.
Yes, must-have.
Probably.
Based on a 15-minute demo, yes, must-have.
It wasn't as grotesque as I thought it would be, so I might have to give it a second shot.
Okay.
It's so good ass.
What?
I'll read the next one. Chris Koenig. What was the best action game you saw?
Rising.
How about the best non-Monster Hunter hunting game?
Well,
Rising again.
there's only one.
Amazing is hunting, yeah, definitely.
Rising is a hunting game.
Are we unanimous on this?
I think we're
No.
unanimous.
What? What else you played?
X-Troopers.
That wasn't a Monster Hunter
That-
hunting game.
Yeah, it's not a.
That was just a third-person shooter.
Best
It's
action
a
game.
two-part question.
It's a two-part question, yeah. There's best action game and best non...
Come on, people.
Yeah, best action game would be X-Troopers.
I haven't played that, so I'm going to completely ignore what you said. And Rise.
Okay.
Yeah, go on, Steve. Sorry, Cheesy. So you say X-Troopers. What about best non-Monster Hunter type game?
Non-Monster Hunter, Monster Hunter.
Not Monster
one,
Hunter, hunting
though.
game.
That's not an easy one.
Yeah, that would probably have to go to Soul Sacrifice.
Just by default.
By default, yeah,
I
it
think
was...
probably out. Just do it right now.
Well, how about Phantasy Star 2?
That's Monster Hunter is a Phantasy Star
Not that
Online
many to
type.
choose from me here.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that-
PSO2 came... Well, I mean, PSO came way before Monster Hunter.
Exactly,
And
yes.
I played a ton of PSO back in the day, and I kind of wore out on it. So going back for round 2, I mean, it's been a long time since I've played PSO, so I kind of forgot a lot of the conventions of it and actually got lost during my demo. But, yeah, it's been a
What
long
happens
time.
when Cheesy gets lost during a demo? You just like look up in the sky.
I had to ask...
Excuse
The
me,
guy
booth
standing
babe
there.
lady.
Actually, I think it was one of the developers was standing there, and I asked him, where am I going? I'm kind of lost.
You
He's like,
apologize.
yeah, I'm sorry, I'm lost. Where do I go? Oh, that transportation platform right there. Oh, okay, thanks.
Nice.
So, yeah, PSO2, I mean, it didn't quite differentiate itself enough for me. But, I mean, since it's free, I'll probably, take a good long look at it when it arrives on the Vita. My PC isn't up to snuff, unfortunately. But, yeah, I think Soul Sacrifice does a lot more new things. So it was, by default, the more impressive non-Monster Hunter game. So, yeah, that's my answer.
Cool. Okie dokie. Med?
What? Rising?
Yes.
Rising?
Obviously.
Okay, that's best action game for it.
Right. Wait, the last question? Should I go?
Monster Hunter clone.
Oh, Monster Hunter clone. Yeah, Soul Sacrifice was fun. It was really fun to play.
Okie dokie. Anybody else want to go?
It's going to be the same answer. So.
Same
Yeah,
answer.
there weren't that many games, like action games.
That's the official Red Sun Gamer answer, I think.
Okie dokie. And the last question.
I want to do it. Eric, my neighbor, my other
buddy.
half.
Your
My burger
BFF.
buddy.
What?
My other half.
Burger sushi buddy.
Yes. Reverend Kyoku asks, on a scale of 1 to yes, how much do you miss me?
Retweet.
This was tweeted to us during the show, by the way.
During
What?
TGS. During TGS.
So, Martin, you say?
I just retweeted it.
Yep.
That was the answer.
What's the answer?
Retweet. I love that.
What's your answer?
Retweet a question.
We just retweeted the question, that's all.
Doesn't make any sense.
All at the same time.
All at the same
Rhetorical.
time. Everybody, we just got, everyone got their phone out.
But I
and-
kept them guessing because I didn't retweet it.
Because
So
I
maybe
don't
I should answer this.
Because I don't understand the scale here, I'm just gonna say 22.
In that case,
22.
4.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, on a scale of 1 to yes, I mean, who knows how many numbers are
One
in
above
between.
blackjack.
Yeah, maybe like Mebius. I don't know. I have no idea.
Okay. Well, I think we'll miss him.
We
right?
hope Eric will make it next time.
Yes.
I think that's a good enough answer.
Yeah.
Yeah, he'll
And
be
buy
back.
his apps and games on the App Store.
Yes.
For him. If you do lots of translation, he has a good Japanese English translation app on the Mac Store. So
Yes.
buy that.
What's
Buy
it
it.
called?
Cheap.
We should plug that.
That's an
What is it?
improved-
Let's plug it right now.
Yes. It's called Happy Translation, and
Aw.
it's an app for Mac. You can get on the Mac App Store, and it helps you. I don't know exactly the details because I don't use it personally, but it has a nice interface if you translate lots of text from English to Japanese and the other way around. So it has a nice interface with the dictionary in the corner and the original text and your translation on the other window.
Yes, it's
So-
very clean.
It's very clean. It will increase your productivity and you'll improve.
So
your-
it's something you're using while translating, not to learn Japanese at all.
Yeah. Yes. You will use it instead of using two Microsoft Word windows open at the same time.
I
It's
see.
one app that does everything for you.
Yes. And the name is very Eric. It's very,
Yeah.
very Eric. Happy translating. Yay!
Is that the sound of someone jumping out the window?
No, that was
Yeah.
Eric.
about
That's Eric, like promoting his own application.
Okay.
Hey guys, happy translating! Yay!
You really sound like him when you say that.
I know. I think I spent too much time with him.
Oh, dear.
I don't know, his official sticker on the Line app is just some person rolling around.
That's
Eric's actually a
Couple-
fictional
that's-
character.
Okay. All right. So are we gonna
I think that's.
skip Akihabara talk till next time?
Sure.
I say save it till next time. Yeah.
Yeah.
Save it to next time.
I just will say that Cheesy, the goodness of his heart, took me on his epic Akihabara Tanken, which is basically exploration. The guy knows everything about Akihabara. Just gonna say it was like, I mean, the nerd foliage. It's just in the
You mean
thick
foliage?
underbrush. You just are chopping through it with your machete, and you showed me the way because it's really just it was just this amorphous blob to me, except for a few select places which I'd go to, like Super Potato that you mentioned. But in going through it with you, which we'll talk about some more time, I learned the way. 5-hour tour.
Teaser.
Yep.
So
Tune
thank
in
you
next
for that.
time.
Yeah.
So he should charge for people.
He's good enough where he could charge a gang, like a group of clueless pistages from overseas. They probably could earn a lot of money.
Excellent.
Yeah. Well,
But he does it. But his answer was he does it, and it's his hobby, and it's fun for him, and he enjoys it. So I thought that was really cool.
I'm just gonna say Den Town is in Osaka is better than Akihabara.
So after Cheesy taking me around, I would totally up for that battle. So take me around Den, and I will be the final arbiter.
Well, we'll have to have that battle because I'm also well acquainted with the Den town.
Yeah.
SMI. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Three-way rap
Cheesy,
battle.
just to like get the verdict. You know both. What's better?
I'd probably have to go with Akiba.
We have to.
Yeah. Yeah.
No, come on.
Yeah.
Well, save it.
They've got this whole new place out called Soine, which is like a shop where you can cuddle with chicks.
See, that's the problem with Akihabara. It's not about games anymore.
It's not even really about anime either.
For $10, for 10 minutes, you could cuddle.
No, it was more than that. It was more than $10.
Well,
Okay,
no,
we'll
it's
talk
like
about it next time. We'll talk about it next time.
Yeah, okay, let's wrap this up.
Okie dokie. Yes, I think we should. So if you want to reach us on the old email, it's redsungamer@gmail.com. If you want to reach us on the Twitter, it's redsungamer on Twitters. I am DJ Mizuhara. Steven, you are?
I am Steve_RedSunG.
Mehdi?
I'm MEHDI.EFF, not dot, underscore, sorry.
Okay.
He did it this time. All off
Screwed it
me.
up.
Oh man, that's my email address.
Well done. You just give your email address as
I'm
well.
waiting for your
At
spam.
email at-
You remember the Vita live stream where everyone got my email address, my credit card number, and my all my information when we streamed the Vita thing?
Yes.
Anyway.
Okay, Cheesy, you are?
Cheesemeister 3K.
Excellente. And Elliot?
Ryoga Saotome.
There you go. Excellent. We have a little thread on the gaff. If you want to post any comments on there, please do. If you could you please give us some iTunes reviews, please? We could do with some of them.
And iTunes money too.
Spot of those.
Yeah, some bumps would be pretty appreciated, I guess.
PayPal, anything. PSN cards, iTunes cards.
Yes, okay, Mehdi. And yes, our...
You should plug in 2 Twitter accounts who like. There's a.
Oh, yeah.
That
Oh,
waifu.
yeah.
You should follow that Twitter account.
Which one?
That waifu.
NSF.
Oh,
It's kind of NSFW.
okay. And the other
Not
one?
safe for work.
One
Yeah.
is and region locking at and region lock. Is that it? Yes, and region lock. You should follow
Okay.
that.
Someone else say that? I had a Berber accent going on there.
Cheesemeister help me here.
Yeah, that's at End Region Lock.
Thank you.
Excellent. Okay, we have a YouTube account as well, which is RedSunGamerTV. Check out our TGS videos up on there.
Unless you want to like give us strikes, otherwise don't look.
Yeah, exactly. Anyways, so that was Red Sun Gamer episode 49.
Oh, can I say one thing?
Go for it.
No
I'm just gonna say it because I don't care.
objection.
I'm looking for. I'm gonna be looking for a new job, so I might be off the podcast here and there for a little while,
Oh,
which is a good thing.
we'll miss you, Steve.
Good.
We all know it's a lie, and we all know that he's just going to be playing Halo 4 for 6 months.
Okay, we'll just spam you online. It's no biggie.
So I hope I could be here to do the talk about Akihabara. So.
Okay. Good. So yeah, join us
job,
next.
hire me. Anyway, go ahead.
Join us next week for episode 50. Bit of a milestone, right?
Oh, man, we got to do something special.
I gotta be there. I may duck
Let's
in.
eat pizza or something.
Let's do that.
Pizza live on the cast.
Live stream.
Live pizza stream. Let's do it.
Alrighty, let's do it. I think we can do it. We've got the technology.
And we
That's what we said at TGS in the hotel room.
That's a story for another day.
It sure is.
That's what we ended up at.
Anyways, thank you for listening to 49. We'll see you next week in episode 50. Let's go to some of this.
That's all
Start some of this.